Welcome back, everyone. We are on episode 66 of the Off the Menu podcast. I guess I'm your host today, Tay. Today I got two very special guest hosts, Kenny and our CEO Technical Support, Sifu Ying.
Hello.
And on today's episode, we have a very special guest, Mr. Andy, aka AD Sneaks, sneaker enthusiast, teacher, go-getter, big stepper, going crazy.
Thank you for that intro.
Oh,
Woo!
man. It's not as crazy as our other hosts. Let me go ahead and get
Yeah.
Yes.
We need to get the sound effects in there.
And today we have technical support assistant, Vanessa, in the back.
Woo!
Man, these sound effects are crazy.
Yeah. Man, this has been a long time coming. We've been big fans of yours since around COVID. It was like you were making a lot of good sneaker content during the time. You still make a lot of good sneaker content, but that was like the one that really like stuck out to us during that time because
Right.
Everyone is at home.
Yeah. Like COVID was, weird time for everybody. So sticking at home, we're all bored and we try to, do things to entertain ourselves. And that's just what I started doing during COVID was camera, shoes, and that's how we got here.
Man, that's so crazy. Well, let's go ahead and get to the episode then. Like we said, we have two very special guests. This was a meaningful episode for the two on this side because they're also big fans of yours, and he has a lot of teacher questions.
Yeah.
She has sneaker questions. So I was like, okay, let's fit them in. Let's give the other guys some time off. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. For our viewers, who are you and what do you do?
My name's Andy Dutton, on Instagram, AD Sneaks. I'm a middle school teacher, been teaching for 10 years. I teach digital media and engineering, I guess just like the tech side of stuff. Been doing that and been loving it. And then I also do photography for sneakers, hobby really, in my basement. Got my little studio set up down there doing my thing and been working with a few brands here and there. And it's just fun, just being able to express my creativity that way through photography and through sneakers.
Have you always been a photographer?
I don't know. Like the term photographer is like, it's like, that makes me sound all professional, like, I don't know. It's always been, I've loved messing around with cameras since I was a kid. Cause my dad growing up, we always hated it when he would like have the camera out, like we're going on a family trip or we're in the backyard or something. He's always taking pictures. It's like, Dad, just let us play. Like, we don't want to see this all the time. Like you're always behind the camera. And then, like I started picking up his camera and just messing around with it. And then in high school, started doing a little bit more. And then in college, really started falling in love with just photography in general. And at that time, like in college, I'm broke. Everyone's broke when they're going to college. And so I would just take pictures of like places that my wife and I would go hiking or pictures of my kids doing fun stuff around the house. And it's just fun to document, memories that way. And we go back and look at that stuff all the time. And it's great. And I just feel like photography is just it's a special medium to capture things because video, you see it and it kind of already tells you the emotions that you need to feel when you watch it. Mm-hmm. But photography, it's just like, it's up to the viewer to like,
create their own story.
Emotion. Yeah, exactly. I mean, the cliche saying, picture's worth 1,000 words. So.
Yeah, your own interpretation.
Exactly. Yeah. So I've always just really enjoyed photography. And then, like I was saying, it just kind of transitioned into sneakers. During COVID when we were all forced to just stay home and do nothing. Cause I've loved sneakers since I was a kid, but I never really like merged the two until COVID.
Oh, that's crazy. So you've been collecting sneakers your whole life? When does that start?
Admiring sneakers for most of my life. Cause again, poor and couldn't really like get that stuff as a kid. I'd always look on at admiration, like a teammate in basketball or some kid we played with. It's like, oh man, you got like, at the time I was like, oh, you got them and one Tai Chi's on, or you got the Allen Iverson on, you got them Answers on. And like, I would never be able to get that stuff. We were shopping discount at like Shoe Palace and stuff like that. And just, happy with what we got. And I just remember getting East Bay magazines in, drooling over all of that stuff, cutting out the pictures and like slipping them in my binder cover at school. Like I'm going to have those one day. And and I didn't really start buying sneakers and collecting until I mean, actively collecting. I would buy a pair or two here during college. But probably my first few years into teaching is when I started, turning it up a little bit, have a little bit more disposable income, and started buying some more shoes. And then it's just a bad habit after that. So.
Oh no, we know how that goes.
Right.
Wait, did you actually buy any sneakers off the eBay magazines back in the day?
Yeah, that's where I would get most of because when we go to the discount places, they wouldn't have, they'd have like the low end basketball shoes, and those would always like hurt my feet, hurt my ankles. So we'd shop the sales on the East Bay magazine. And I remember my dad always calling on the phone, giving them the order number, giving them the size, credit card over the phone, and then getting them in the mail. So I never got anything like just to wear for like back to school or anything through East Bay. It was always like my football cleats or my basketball shoes. I'd always get those through East Bay.
Yeah. No, thinking back about like when I heard about that, like ordering from a magazine, I'm like, wow, people had really like trusting things. Like nowadays, you're just like, oh, credit card over the phone?
It seems super sketchy now, right? But back then, it's like, yeah, sure, have my credit card. It's cool.
It's crazy.
Yeah, the things you used to get away with back in the day. Good thing we never had to do it. I grew up in Portland, so, Nike's just right there. We kind of had our access to most stuff. Even in high school, my high school team was sponsored by Nike. Oh, wow. So we had football cleats by them, every gear by Nike. So that was really nice that we didn't have to go through that. It wasn't up until we moved to Utah, like 2007, that I knew what East Bay was.
Right.
Yeah. And then my cousin was like, yeah, we buy from here all the time. I'm like, what is a magazine that you guys buy shoes from?
That's sketchy.
You guys don't have a Nike out here?
Yeah.
So roughly around the time you started making content, and during COVID, you were at home with your camera and stuff. Like you, in a way, have like inspired a lot of us to, take advantage of what you have and then start building with that because, if anyone has seen your studio and seen your photos, it's kind of like, wow, you take those photos just in like your studio,
right?
And anyone can just do that. Yeah. And you kind of give free game for everyone to like, this is the pieces I buy, this is what I use, and this is what I do.
Yeah,
like,
I try not to gatekeep with that because there's a lot of that in the sneaker community, even in the creative community.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a lot of gatekeeping.
For sure.
Like I'll hold some secrets, like how I edit and stuff. Like I'll hold those close to the vest. But as far as like the setup and stuff, like it's been fun to see people like message me or tag me and stuff that it's like, hey, I use that thing that you have in your like Amazon list, and now I'm trying this. I'm like, that's dope. Like just create. Yeah. And so it's fun. And I think the thing that's hard with being a creative is like, in today's age, we want like people to see our creativity. We want like, those brand deals or things like that. But I think sometimes if that's what we focus on, we're losing like the actual creative side of it, which is like you want to just make things because you love to see how things work. You love to express your creativity in different ways. And if you're creating for like the goal to like work with a brand or something, then you might lose the sight of like why you wanted to create in the first place. Like just keep creating, and like that stuff in time, like people will notice. Yeah.
No, you definitely inspired me. I feel like your page is what I wanted my sneaker page to be. I started a sneaker page, but I had my sister-in-law. She just took pictures of me and my different sneakers and stuff. Right. But that kind of fell off because our time schedules didn't work out and stuff like that. And so I remember trying to like form my Jordans into like a heart.
Yeah.
At one point. And it's a lot of work. So like I applaud you for keeping up, and like I keep scrolling through your page, and it's so aesthetically pleasing to look at.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's super fun. Like it's, I don't know, it's just my little getaway down in my basement. Like people have their man caves where they got like their gaming systems or their TVs and stuff like that. My getaway is just going and playing with my camera, doing photos and stuff like that. That's just how I kind of like unwind from the day of wrestling those middle school kids. My gosh.
You're on a different level. Like, I think high school kids are bad, but junior high is like crazy. I wouldn't dare. It's like the seventh graders are the ones I'm scared of.
They're wild, man. Yeah. They're so squirrely, but like in a good way. Like you hate it, but you love it at the same time.
Right.
Because they just like, they crack you up half the stuff that they do.
Yeah. This generation's crazy. Well, it's crazy because like I'm in this podcast, I look up to you, dude. Thank you. I tell all my kids, like, hey, I wear sneakers too, but not to like your level. And the kid's like, Mr. Sun, this is, like your sneaker game. And then I tell him, like, well, if you think mine is cool, I don't know if you guys know this, but there's another teacher in Utah that is like on a whole different spectrum. And I show them, they're like, whoa, that's crazy. I'm like, yeah, he's in Utah. He's a middle school teacher. Follow him. And like, if you thought I was cool, man, his is like on a different level. And so they geek out about that. And I think that's pretty cool about this generation is they like back when we were in high school, like all of us, you only saw a few pocket of kids with Jordans and stuff like that. Now it's like almost every kid's got a pair of Pandas, which is like the funny thing about that. Yeah. And to see that change is wild.
Oh, it's crazy. Cause like you said, like as a kid, it's kind of like a niche thing. It's like, you know, either you were like super into sneakers or you're super into like sports. And then you would wear like the athletic shoes, the runners, the basketball shoes, stuff like that. And then now it's like, if you want to be like you wear like some Pandas or some Jordans or like all this stuff. And like, I get kids all the time that come in and be like, yo, check out these new J's I got on. And it's like, yo, those are sick. So it's just, it's fun to like have that connection piece with these younger kids. Cause I feel like sometimes it's difficult for someone who's older. I don't think I'm very old, but these kids think I'm ancient. So, so if, like someone older to connect with like a young kid, like sneakers just bridges that gap. And it's just, I don't know. I think it helps a lot in the classroom because at least when I was a kid, I had a hard time paying attention in class if my teacher was just dry and like just unrelatable. They're just, you know, the Charlie Brown teacher, like, wah, 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 wah. Like that's what it was like back in the day. So it's just like, I want to be like, when I first started teaching, I would wear a tie and stuff to like school. And then, cause that's what everybody did. And so then as the years went on, I was just like, man, this ain't me. I hate wearing a tie. Like it gets hot. Like I don't like this. This isn't how I dress. And then I just slowly started like dressing how I am and just being myself. So I didn't need to be like teacher Andy and then normal Andy. Like I just wanted to be Andy all the time. And so as I started doing that, I feel like the relationships that I was able to build with kids and like the things that we were able to do, because they were buying into me as a person, and then they would buy into the like what I'm trying to teach after that. So yeah, it's helped a ton. Cool. Just being you, like you don't need to be a fake version of yourself in front of these kids because they see that a lot. And though like at least middle school kids, they roast you about that all the time. They're relentless.
All the kids roast you. Like I've learned that. And I'm like, oh gosh, don't take it to heart.
Then you got to give it right back to them.
You got to, that's the thing too, is you really do have to give it right back to them. Well, I was going to ask you, because I guess every school is a little bit different depending on their admin, but for you, and I've noticed, and you've posted comments about this, how there's like people who, oh, why is he's a teacher or he's an adult? Why do you dress like, you know, like a teenager, right? So I guess my question is, with your school, did other teachers care? Do your admin care? Or did you kind of just say, hey, I'm going to wear what I want and this is just me?
I think like I like where my classroom is, there's like this little hallway. We kind of call ourselves like the misfits of the school. Like all the teachers down there. So there's like me, I teach like tech ed. There's a lady down the hall who teaches like agriculture. There's another dude in there who teaches some like tech ed. And then we have an art teacher, and then we have a business teacher. And we're all like super chill. So like in our little pod, we're like cool. I don't know what other teachers like think about that outside of like our little area. I usually don't venture out. I probably should like get to know some of my other coworkers, but admin's been like, they're pretty supportive. I want to say probably like 3 years ago, maybe 4 years ago, the admin that we had at the time changed the hat rule at our school.
Ours just changed.
I
hate it.
Did they ban it at your school?
It's like, don't wear hats. I was like, no.
It's like, man, I don't want to show my bald head. So like when they allowed hats, I was like, I asked my principal, I'm like, so if you're allowing kids to wear hats, that means we can wear hats too? He's like, yeah, I don't see why not. I'm like, say less. And then my hat collection started growing a little bit more when he said that too. So, but yeah, so like admin was super supportive. And then this last year we got a new principal, and he's pretty chill, pretty supportive of it too. And I think that's great, because I think that again, like I feel like teachers, and I'm not knocking any teachers that do this, but like, you know, the shirt and tie, pants, slacks, like I get that you want to dress as a professional, be treated as a professional, but also at the same time, you gotta be relatable to these kids.
For sure.
And like, I don't dress this way just to be relatable to these kids. It's just who I am. And then it just, being your authentic self resonates with kids more than just being like that, like, I'm your teacher, you listen to me kind of stuff. So yeah, it's been cool to see the support of my admin and then some of my fellow teachers.
That's awesome. That's cool. Yeah, that's awesome. I don't know. Sometimes I wonder if other teachers like, oh, okay, well, Andy's not professional, or he's that dude, that social media teacher. Do you get any bit of that, or is for the most part, do you feel like your faculty is pretty supportive?
I feel like they're pretty supportive. Some of them like have started asking, it's like, so this shoe photography thing, like, are you going to quit teaching anytime soon?
Okay.
And I'm like, no, like I love teaching.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, maybe people say stuff behind my back. If they do, that's their problem. Like, I don't care.
Right. Cool.
Yeah. Man, we talk about it a lot too, because during COVID, we would send him your videos about your sneaker stuff, and then we were like, Kenny, dude, you should start doing this. And he's like, hey, he lives in Utah, right? And we were like, whoa, we were shocked that you lived here in Utah. And then, JSM came on and he's like, yeah, that's my shoe photographer. And like, I was like, whoa, like the world just started like getting smaller and smaller. And I was like, okay, we're getting closer and closer to, someone that we've been watching for the last couple of years. And, kind of in a relatable way, like trying to build shoe content the way you were doing it. And because, your style is very niche, like very your own style. Like I haven't seen really any other sneaker pages like do what you've done so far and do what you've been able to create, because you're not the average like sneaker content page. You're like everyone else does like sneaker reselling, or they talk about stuff like yours is like to really just highlight a shoe in a way. And, we've been truly inspired with like, the wife and I have been just like, we need to just make content like that. So like we went out, bought a nice camera and got all this stuff. Like we talked about it at sneaker convention, and we were like, oh man, I can't. We when I literally met you at the sneaker convention, I was like, I can't wait to have you on the podcast, because like in that maybe like 10 minutes we were talking about cameras, shoes, and all that stuff, and it kind of just felt like the conversation kept going. But now I see what kind of person you are. Like and you've just been doing whatever you really want to do, and I think that's the one thing that people need to notice is that if you like something, just go enjoy yourself and teach yourself.
Yeah, you just like. I don't know. I feel like it's easy on social media to see what other people doing and want to do what they're doing instead of being like your authentic self. And so the original intent behind like starting Instagram and taking pictures is like my students were like, man, Mr. Dutton, you got a lot of shoes. And then I'd have friends like, man, you got a lot of shoes. Like, I'll just start a sneaker account and just take pictures of every single shoe that I have in my collection. And then, just show you guys through that, because I didn't want to post it on like my personal one, because I was like, that's where I show my kids and like, things we do and stuff like that. And then when I got to the end of all the shoes that I had in my collection, I'm like, now what? Like I'd showed every shoe that I have, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like people have been asking, like I've met some cool people that way, and they're like, yeah, just what about this shoe? What about this shoe? Like what socks are those, or what pants you wearing? And then in the beginning, it slowly evolved into like just showing my shoes, and then showing like the socks with my pants, and then it's like, oh, what's the rest of the fit look like? It's like, man, I don't want to take pictures of myself. This is awkward. So then I started doing that, and then like that felt really weird and uncomfortable for me, because I wasn't used to that. I didn't want to be like in front of the camera. It still feels kind of weird taking pictures of myself that way. But
you take your own pictures?
Yeah, I just put my camera up on my tripod, and with the Sony, that app is atrocious. Trying to control the camera, but that's the app that I use to like, get the shutter going, and I'm like, okay, I got to get this pose. Let me put on a 5-second timer and then click it and then do it that way. So, I think it's fun to like, it was fun for me to create that way, but then also to like, when it got to like showing the whole outfit with it, to like push myself a little bit outside of my comfort zone, just to like, people wanted to know. So like, what am I like scared of? Like they want to see it. So why not show them? Like, and if other random people that come in on the internet and, say weird stuff, it's like, who cares? They don't know me. I don't know you. So screw you,
Go ahead.
And I really like enjoy that you don't just take pictures of like the most hype, whatever's out there. You actually like, there's runners, every type of shoe on your page. It's like, do you honestly like enjoy each of those shoes, or do you like, how do you go about like buying what shoes like you like?
Honestly, like, in the beginning when I started like really collecting shoes, and it's easy to want to like go after all the hype stuff. And like as a kid, I always wanted Jordans, and I still like Jordans are still my like all-time go-to brand, just because the nostalgia and just, I don't know, there's just something about owning a pair of J's. And then as like time went on, I would see like other people wearing like some New Balances or some Sauconys or some Asics and things like excuse me, and things like that. And I was like, man, those look kind of good. But then I was thinking in the back of my mind, I'm like, oh, but that kind of stuff wouldn't do well on social media. That wouldn't be good content because people won't really like resonate with that. I want more likes. I want more follows. Like, and then I just again like got in my head and it was just like, but then that's not being you. Like if you like that, just get it and wear it. And who cares like if people like it or not? Like it's what I enjoy. And so like for Sauconys, like I've been just starting getting into them like early last year and then rolling over into this year. I'll shop like their discounts like on their website or some other boutiques. Like you can get some fire Sauconys for like $45.
Dang,
like I posted some the other day. I think they were like the Triumph 4s or something. Yeah, I picked those up for like $50 shipped to my house. I get them in. I'm like, man, these materials are crazy. Like, how do people not appreciate this shoe? Like, yeah, you see like these Jordans and like these Nikes and stuff. It's like I'm spending $180 on a pair of Jordan 1s that has glue stains all over the place. Like, and then I go and get this $50 pair of Sauconys that just blows it out of the water and like quality. I'm like, why wouldn't I want that? You know?
Yeah.
So I don't know, just be genuine and just like, if I like it, I like it. And I don't have to justify that to anybody. So I just want to wear it. And that's what I want to do.
Yeah. We got to appreciate that from the sneaker side of it too. I've been like in the sneaker game for about, like 17 years.
Right.
Since I was like 13. And, you know, every kid wants Jordans, every kid wants Nikes, you know, and then we went to the phase last few years with, you know, Adidas and stuff like that. And now like the sneaker community has like grown into liking everything. And that's the one thing that we appreciate with what you've been able to do is like, you do truly like no one on a Wednesday day, like a Wednesday is going to look for, you know, $55 discount shoes, right? We're on StockX looking like the average sneakerhead's like on StockX, like, okay, this is what I can sell this for, or this is what I can get and stuff. But that's where people should be looking is the discount stuff or like on the pages looking for stuff that people aren't buying because the material on a lot of these runners that are coming out right now, because that's really what's big, you know, with the New Balance and stuff and Asics, like the material on those shoes are amazing. Because I think like Nike over the last couple of years have just, you know, with the hype of sneakers post-COVID, it kind of created this thing with Nike that was like, hey, forget the quality of like shoes now. We're just going to keep pumping them out. You know, there are Pandas every weekend. There are, you know, there were GR releases like literally every week that these shoes would have been amazing during COVID. But right after COVID, all these shoes are like sitting on the shelf and stuff because nobody wanted to buy them. And, you know, expand to the viewers, you know, expand your shoe collection, like build off what you can and just wear what you like because no one's going to tell you. Well, people can tell you that they don't like it, but as long as you like it in the day, it's going to look the way you want it to. And I'm happy that you went with the full fit stuff. Because, and, you know, we see it all the time, like Instagram inspiration or like, you know, TikTok fit inspiration stuff. You know, from a teacher's perspective and like how you've been able to put stuff together, it shows like what kids could amass to, you know, what they could become and like, or what they can just like stuff and put stuff together because growing up, we never had teachers like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And I'm happy that you're able to like break them all. I'm not saying there's not teachers out there to do it, but we're happy to see a teacher that's like, you know, this is my style and this is how I put things together. And for you to put on the internet and get away from just the feet stuff and, you know, the shoe stuff, you know, we really appreciate that you've been able to do that too, because you kind of built like this mass following over the last few years. And how were you able to like keep up with that? And then do you like personally just like look at the numbers and be like, you know, I want to keep growing or I just want to keep posting content that I do?
Yeah, like it was a tricky thing because like in the beginning, like it was just like mind blowing. Like my wife and I were just like, man, like things are just like rolling. I think it was last summer and I don't even know what it was. Like I wasn't doing anything like special, no like special content. I just posted and then this thing just like skyrocketed. I'm like, wow, like this is going crazy. And then talking with my wife more about it, I'm just like, should I like lean into this a little bit and like just go for it and just see what happens? And we're just like, yeah, I mean, you enjoy it, like you're having fun with it. So yeah, like I just started taking pictures like almost every single day and then like doing like short little videos, editing that content and just throwing it up. And like I'll look at the numbers sometimes just to be like, whoa, like I didn't expect like some random pair. Like I think I posted a pair of, what was it, like the 1906 size exclusives, like the Diamond District.
Oh, yeah.
Posted those a while back, and like usually like I'll post and then like I'll reply to comments and stuff, and then I just kind of leave it for the day because I don't want to keep scrolling through Instagram because it's just, I don't know, Instagram can be kind of a cesspool sometimes.
Yeah.
So I don't like to scroll too much. And so like, and then I like come back and like a couple days later, like all my notifications are all for that post. I'm like, man, what is it about this that's like popping up? I don't know. But like, it's just, it's crazy to see that because like there's people who genuinely seek out the social media clout and the social media fame. And like, I could care less about that, honestly. Like, I'm not trying to sound like super humble or like super woke with it, but like, that's not why I do this. Like, I do this because like it's enjoyable to me, and like this is a hobby. Like, some people, you know, love cars, some people love like the outdoors, and some like all these different things. I just love to take pictures of like shoes and stuff, and just it's fun, and it kind of helps me too, like figure out how I want to style myself too. Like, I'll look at a picture, like I feel like it's different looking at a picture of myself versus looking at myself in the mirror. Because when I see a picture of myself, I'm like, maybe not those pants next time, or like maybe I'll do a different top next time, or like, ooh, like these shoes would look good with this. And it's just like ways that I can express myself. And I feel like the sneaker world and like the fashion world, especially right now, is in a good spot where people are very keen on being themselves instead of trying to be like somebody else. Yeah. And so that's, I don't know, that's kind of how I've been my whole life, is just, I just want to be me. And if you vibe with me, cool. And if you don't, like, do you, like, it doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been crazy just to see things take off. Cause like, I don't feel any different. I don't think I'm like this big famous person, because I don't feel like I am. Like, I'm still just middle school teacher Andy, you know, got my family and got my kids, just doing my thing and having fun.
Yeah. Man, so like for you and like building your collection over the years, we always like, whenever we ever get a chance to speak like sneakers and stuff, we always ask like, what is the top 3 in your collection right now that you enjoy at the moment?
That's tough. I think so kind of without getting into the long part of the story, I love Jordan 2s. Like, Jordan 2s are, I think, one of the most beautiful Jordan signature sneakers. And it may be because like my core memory, you know, with those was when I was a kid. I think it was my sophomore or junior year in high school. I remember they had a Foot Locker in our little tiny mall up in Pocatello, Idaho. And it was like the only like shoe store anywhere in the whole city, even like around us. Like, that was it. So we go in there, and like I would get my basketball shoes there for the last couple of years, and I go in there and I saw up on the wall like a pair of Jordan 2s. It was the black and like silver ones. I can't remember the official colorway, but I think it was like a 04 release. And I see those, I'm like, man, that's a Jordan signature shoe. I've never seen a Jordan signature shoe in hand before. And like, that was really cool for me to see that. And so I bought those, and I played that year basketball in those shoes. And then that summer mowed the lawn in those shoes and just beat those things. So like, I loved Jordan 2s because that was my first signature Jordan that I was ever able to get as a kid. And then that kind of like just, I don't know, again, core memory established it in my brain that like Jordan 2s are great. And then flash forward to a few years ago when Virgil Abloh did the Off-White 2 lows. Yeah, I was like filling out all the raffles. I stayed up way too late that night because I know when he drops on his Off-White site, it's like at 3 a.m.
Random time.
And I was like struggling the next day at school. I took an L. Like, I was so pissed about that. And then, you know, I hate having to pay like resale for stuff because it's just stupid expensive sometimes. And for those, I bought those. When was it? It was like early November when I bought those. And I can't remember the price that I got them for, but I got them off of StockX. I paid for them. And I got a notification that the seller had like shipped them and they were on their way to StockX. And it was that day that I got that notification that we also found out about Virgil's passing. And I was like, oh man. And then like I heard of a lot of people's orders getting canceled for all their Off-White stuff because people wanted to, you know, unfortunately capitalize on that situation. And so I was very lucky to be able to like have the seller ship it so it's out of his hands. And then I was able to get those. And those are just like kind of tie back to my childhood and then tie back to that like unfortunate passing of Virgil, and just like brings it kind of full circle. So that's a shoe that like I love. That's probably my favorite shoe in my entire collection, or the Off-White 2s.
Jordan 2s.
Yeah, and just the detail that he went in on those with like taking the archive pairs and then like filling it in with like resin and stuff so you could see the like that's crazy. Like, I've never seen anything that like detailed on a Jordan collaboration. And I feel like that shoe doesn't get enough love because, again, it's a 1. Or, I mean, it's a 2. So people always focus on the 1s or like, you know, the 4s or 5s or things like that. But no one really gives a lot of attention to the 2s. And that's like definitely top pair right there.
Yeah, I think he brought back the wave for Jordan 2s, honestly, because everyone started doing collaborations with them. And so I didn't like the 2, but I ended up having like 2 or 3 pairs of it because of the collaboration. So I was like, wow, actually a really nice shoe.
Oh, they're super comfortable for like a shoe that old. And then I found out later, it was like, oh, I didn't know that too. But like 2s have a full length air unit in it, not just like the Jordan ones that have it in the heel. Like it was the full length, like heel to toe. I was like, oh, maybe that's why they're so comfortable. It's 'cause they got air through the whole thing.
Yeah.
Have you gone for any shoes during class? I bet you have.
Oh, all the time.
All the time?
Yeah, all the time.
Gosh.
All the time, dude.
I've
Like,
missed so many drops.
Yeah.
And then like one time I think it was an off-white pair. Like one of my students asked me, this was last year, he's like, hey, Mr. Sun, is it cool if I go for these? Like we have a no phone policy. And I was like, hey, if I don't see it, just hide it from me. And I remember 8 o'clock hit, I looked over and they just looked at me, he was just like, nope, didn't
like,
get it. I was like,
me neither, bro. I see it. I'll have kids that like later in the day will come up and they'll like get their phone out and they'll walk into class and be like, hey, Dutton, I got him. And it's like,
that's
I'm happy for you, but I'm mad because I didn't get him.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
that's
it's
so
funny.
crazy.
And then like, I don't know, there'll be some times that they'll have like drops. I think it was whenever the Union 2s came out, they screwed up that drop. But I remember when those came out, that was like, I think like 10 o'clock our time is when they dropped it. And I'm like, man, that's in the middle of school.
Yeah,
like, what am I going to do? And so like, and that was during, like we have a flex time. So it's like first period flex time, and then you have second period after that.
Oh,
and,
I see. Okay.
So during flex time, I had a bunch of kids in there that needed help with some work.
Okay.
And so I'm like, man, it's getting closer. Hopefully no one asks questions. And then like a few seconds before the drop, like kid raises his hand. I'm just like, okay. So like I go over there real quick and I'm like, oh yeah, here you go. And I like hustle back to my desk and like try to like get in on it. And then that drop was just atrocious anyway.
Okay.
And like their website crashed, everything died. They ended up like canceling everybody's orders. And then I'm like, man, I feel bad now because I rushed like to help this kid just for a pair of shoes that I wasn't able to get.
Yeah, I remember that pair. That one was really highly botted. Right?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
That's why they had to cancel all the orders, and then later on they released
Someone
everything.
ordered like 400 pairs or something.
Yeah, it was crazy. But then now you look at it and you can get those for under retail.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we had 3 pairs for the longest time on the retail. And then we were just like, well, we'll give them out as gifts now. Because if I would have got them in a 13, I would like, okay, I'm gonna keep them. That's how we used to do our sneaker reselling stuff. If we couldn't sell it, we keep our sizes.
Yeah, no, that's a good way to do it. Because when I first started like collecting, like I would go for every size that I could. And it's like, oh, well, I only hit on my size. Whoop, too bad. Like, guess I'll have to keep that one.
Yeah, that's true. Like every sneaker drop, I was like different devices and everything. And then I was like, oh, if I get my size, I'm keeping it.
Yeah.
But if any other size, then I can like, I went for like a 10.5 because like a lot of my friends were a 10.5. So I was like, I knew someone was going to buy it if I didn't want it. So it was
Yeah, things we do to get pairs of shoes.
Well, she has 12 devices.
Oh my gosh, you got like all the phones, iPads laid out.
It's like you ever seen there's an old guy in Taiwan that plays Pokemon Go. He has 49 cell phones.
Yeah.
That's her every Saturday morning at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock. She's like this.
got it all on the
Password.
table.
Half awake.
yeah, literally, I'm like half awake because like we would spend like Friday nights like up late, and then all of a sudden I'm like, oh crap, there's a sneaker drop tomorrow, and I would like set my alarm. It's like 6 a.m. I'm like, okay, hour and a half. I can sleep for an hour and a half, and then I would like wake up, and sometimes I would miss the alarm, and everyone's like, did you get the shoe? And I'm like, I missed the drop.
I slept in.
Yeah,
I remember
that was the worst feeling.
we were shadow banned at one point for
Oh,
having
yeah,
too many devices. And then she's like, there's no way they would ban us. There's no way. I was like, we're IP banned because I tried to buy a pair of socks today and they wouldn't even
let you buy a pair of socks.
Yeah, Nike just completely shut down our address. And then I was like,
man.
I don't know. And then I don't think I've hit on sneakers in like 4 years.
Oh, sneakers is bad.
Yeah.
Like, I've
So
given
bad.
up hope on that. Like I'll try, and it's funny because you'll see like it'll be sitting on Foot Locker,
Yeah.
Yeah.
or on like Champ Sports, and then you like take an L on sneakers,
Yeah.
and then it's like, but it's still there. Like it still says I can check out, and then you go a day later, and it's like it's still there. Like why did I get an L
Yeah.
when it's available all these places, and then like a couple days later it's sitting on your app? Like come on.
Yeah.
All those
Hate
canceled
that.
orders. Every single canceled order.
Because people order, they'll go check stock. It's like, oh, no.
Yep,
never mind,
cancel.
and cancel.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
the worst. Like when he told me that we were IP banned, I was like, fine, I'm gonna go to like I'm driving to work and I'm like, okay, trying to get like different towers.
She had her iPad. I remember it was so funny. She's like, I'm going to take my iPad to work today. I'm like, yeah, go ahead. I don't know why you would take your iPad. And she's like, look, I hit. At like 8:05. I'm like, that's why you take your iPad with you? So you can, she connects to, she pulls up to the parking lot. I know this for sure because she usually goes to work like pretty late. She's like, I'm wake up at 7:50, go to work at 8. She has to start at 8.
Right.
And then she's like there at like 8:50 or 8:15 every day. So I know her schedule. And then if I see her out of bed before 6 or like 7:30, I'm like, is there a sneaker drop today?
You just know.
Yeah. I was like, is she
You
trying to
can get
some
on the
shoes?
work Wi-Fi to get like,
I'm like, I'm trying. Go.
She's in the lobby like, oh yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah.
And
Sometimes
she-
I'm at the light right before like I get into the parking garage and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do it here.
so good.
Yeah,
I love that.
she's hit on some pretty good shoes too. That's how I know we're IP banned is that she could not get any pairs as well here. But as soon as she would start driving to work and like get those pairs, she's like, oh look, got him. And then I remember she hit like 4 pairs in one day. I forgot what shoe it was, but she hit 4 pairs, and I'm like, okay, we don't need 4 pairs of shoes,
Right.
And I was like, the power of her working in it is so crazy.
That's crazy. And then pretty soon Saturdays you're going to be driving to work so that you can
Yeah,
like, hit on
exactly.
those sneaker shops.
Yeah, I was like, what if I just take the same route on Saturdays? Will I hit?
Then you get like all in your mind, like you get all these like what are they called, like stereotypes, or whatever. Where you're like, I just got to be in this one exact spot at this stoplight at this time, and then I'll hit.
Yeah.
She would do that too. That's so funny.
That's so bad.
Yeah. So we talked about your top 3. Do you have like a grail that you don't have?
Okay, funny you bring this up because I just bought it today.
Oh.
Yeah, so Cause Jordan 4s.
No.
They've been my grail for the longest
Gray or
time.
black?
Wow.
Gray.
Okay. Yes.
Of course, gray.
Yeah.
Like I like the black pair, but I mean that gray pair you can see.
No.
like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Every
stitching and
detail,
so,
yeah.
details.
so good. One of my friends I follow on Instagram, Winona Kicks, Charlie McClay, I think's his name. He posted on his story today like a few pairs that he's getting rid of. He's like,
Yeah.
here's some pairs I'm getting rid of. Looking for like a bulk buyer to buy everything. I'll ship it to you.
Yeah.
And then like in that I see like Cause 4s, and I'm like, I think he's a size 11 because that's my size. So I DM him like, hey man, what size are those Cause 4s? Like I know you're trying to do bulk, but like, what could you do?
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, they're a size 11. I don't know if that's your size at all. and I go, yeah, that's my size. What you got? And he's like, there's no box, but it comes with the bag and like everything else. And I'm like, okay, but like how much? And he sends me the price, and I'm like, say less, bro, because he like. So in my size, normally they're about like dead stock. They're probably like 26, 27 before fees and stuff. And then I was looking on eBay, and their used pairs are probably like high 1s, low 2s still. And then like Goat's stupid. People ask way too much money on Goat for shoes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like you'll see people on Goat that'll ask more for their used pair than the DS pair. is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What are you doing?
Just because there's a used market on Go, everyone's
No research though. They're just like posting
Right?
whatever.
Just post.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
just posting. So
Whatever.
anyway, Charlie hooked it up. He got it to me for a killer deal. I won't reveal the price, but he
tell us after.
yeah, I'll tell you guys that. You know, like, yeah.
Right here. I'm gonna blur this part out.
And then you can just that noise if you want to. No, he hooked it up, so I was really stoked that like lined up today because I've been hunting those for like ever since they dropped. This was
Yeah.
back when I remember his website that he dropped them on. It was just awful at the time. I was like, well, I don't
Yeah.
know what I'm doing. Whatever, move on with my life. But I always wanted them, and then
Yeah.
like finally got them. I'm stoked. I'm hyped about that. So that was like my all-time untouchable. And then now like with that too, I've always wanted like 85s. Like I wanted like
Yeah.
the original pair of 85 Jordan 1s, and yeah, but those are
Oh,
that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
much.
Yeah, I could get a car. Like,
yeah.
Yeah, you could. You could.
Yeah.
Oh man, I love the Cause 4s. I remember seeing the first time the gray pair released, and I was just like, "This is the only pair of shoes I need. If I have to give up my whole collection, I'm gonna get that pair."
Right.
And size 13 is just up there too. Like,
Oh
it
yeah,
was-
13. You're in the hard spot.
Yeah.
With that.
Yeah.
And then so I was like, okay. Then the black pair came out, and I was like, I wasn't too hyped about the black pair. I was like, I'll try going for it, and then I went for it. Missed it, of course, but I think sometime last year, no, 2022, we kept going to Vegas for some reason, and there's a shoe store in Vegas, and I was like, they had a size pair or a size 13 of the Black Ops 4 for like $1,300, and I was like, man, I wonder if I can talk it down. And they had just posted it, so like that day I asked, they're like, no, we're firm on it, 1,300.
Right.
And maybe we had went in like maybe 3 months later, still there. And I'm like, hey, you guys sure you guys don't want to drop the price? They're like, we'll do 1,100. I'm like, okay, how about a coin flip? We do 900 on my side or 1,100 on their side. Won the coin flip, got it there for $900, and I was like, perfect wedding shoe.
Yeah, absolutely.
I wore it during the wedding, and I was like, I don't have to break them in because they're already used. And it was like, I got it for $900, so that pair means a lot more now. Just having it, and I was able to wear it at our wedding.
That's so sick.
You know, you go to any other wedding, if you're not a sneakerhead, it's like, what shoes are you wearing? Or like, you know, what are you, like, you're not wearing dress shoes. I remember my mom looked at me. She's like, you're not wearing dress shoes? I'm like, no. Mom, no. I don't own a pair of dress shoes. I don't know.
These are my nicest shoes that I own.
Yeah. You guys don't know, but this is a $1,500 shoe.
Exactly.
I was trying to convince him to let me wear sneakers for the wedding. And then all my friends were like, no, you're not wearing sneakers for your wedding. I know you're a sneakerhead, but you're wearing heels. And I was like,
I would have let her.
Dang it.
She had the, like, you saw the pair she was wearing, was the Off-White, right?
Yeah, the Off-White UNCs. Yeah.
So I would have let her wear that pair because that pair is just, you know, a white pair, UNC colorway. It would have been like a cool Jordan to wear. Yeah. And, you know, I think that was the first Off-White shoe you got, right? I think, no. I had bought you the 4s already.
Oh,
you had to sell 4s before that. But that was the first one she would never pay for resale for anything as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, the guy's like, $500? Okay, yeah. $400, buy it. And then I remember we took a bunch of pairs in the trade, and then they had her size in that shoe. And she's like, girl math or sneakerhead math is like, if I trade in 5 pairs of shoes at like $200 a piece, bought retail, and I got it for
exactly.
Yeah. And then she's like, I didn't have to spend $600. I saved $600 on this pair of shoes. And then I was like, yeah, that's how I do math.
That's exactly how we do math.
Yeah.
And then like anything, it's like, oh, that's $250. Oh, that's just like this pair of shoes for retail. Like that's not that bad.
Yeah.
Like that's how my wife gets mad when I do math like that with things like, oh, that's just a pair of shoes. Oh, that's just a pair of shoes. Okay, we can do that.
Yeah. Because I was like, I bought all these for retail and the price went up and now I can trade it in for this. I was like, perfect. And then he was like, you have to. And I was like, okay.
It doesn't help. It doesn't help because like people will say like, do you tell her no? I'm like, honestly, she doesn't tell me no. Go and get whatever pair you need. As long as it's like as long as you're in the right state of mind to like purchase that shoe, like don't go all out and buy a Dior because you want to buy a Dior.
Right.
Yeah. Right. It's like buy something that's more meaningful to you that you're going to want for the rest of your life.
Exactly.
Right. I think, like I know one shoe she's never going to give up is with the Union
Black toe.
Yeah, black toe.
They're so beautiful.
The craziest thing for that is that we all miss, of course, and then I'm on StockX. I usually buy her a pair for Christmas, and I was like, I had the Travis Scott 4, and I was like, I'm going to sell this pair and then try to buy her a nice shoe. And then that shoe comes out, and I have money to sit in, and all of a sudden I'm like, oh man, I see something on StockX they were doing a raffle for like $500.
Oh, right.
Or I bid.
Right.
And I did a bid for $530. Boom, hit. And then the next day that shoe hits over to $1,100.
Oh my gosh.
And I was like, wait, there's no way that because the bid, right? Is like you go through, the person has to accept the bid and be like, whatever. I put that bid in 10 minutes later, it's like, boom, $530, $590 for, after fees and stuff. And I was sitting there, I was like, there's no way that just happened. And then I woke up the next morning, I was like, they're literally $1,100 to $1,200 right now.
Oh my gosh. And the seller didn't cancel or anything?
No.
That's amazing.
Yeah. I was like, holy. And then every time she looks at me, she goes, you think I could sell the shoe? I'm like,
you're like, don't you dare.
I can't do it. It's a lot of profit if we were to sell, but I just can't let it go. I'm like, I have a problem with selling like gifts in general already. And so I was like, I can't sell this one. Like, it'll probably be my last resort if I have, but I'm not going to try to not to get to that point, So that'll probably the one shoe I'll probably always keep.
Those Unions are beautiful. Like, that was like, because I remember we, and I made sure my wife was okay with it. Because like we sold our house, had some like nice money from like selling our house, the equity and stuff like that. I'm like, hey, those Unions, I'm wanting those for a while. So it would be okay if we like use some of that. And like, I've been saving up. I'll be like, she's like, yeah, just do it. I'm like, thank you. They're such a good shoe.
Yeah, that's got to be nice. Mine, I've always wanted the Storm
Blue one.
Those ones are like, because I have both of them, and it's just like, I love the storm blue because of like the colors. I love the primary colors like the red, yellow, and the blue on there.
Yeah.
But those black toes, there's just something about those black toes that are
Yeah.
just clean. Like you can wear those with tons of
Anything.
stuff, and the leather's just, oh my gosh. I mean, people say shattered backboard leather. I'd rather have that union leather. Like it just looks so good in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think for me, it's because I've always like been a fan of like my favorite color is blue. So like the storm blue, I missed out on that one, and then I missed on the first storm blue. So like it was just like the regular storm blue Jordan 1, and I was like, man, like and that resale like spiked up right away.
Oh,
It
those
was
were
like
crazy.
600-700, and at that time I wasn't like, at the time I was like, I'm not gonna pay resale for a shoe, and it was like 2019 came around. And I was like, you know, we have extra money. Let's go ahead and buy whatever shoe we want, right?
Right.
And then at that point, I was just like, okay, I'm gonna start buying used shoes for resale because why not? And I remember my Grail is a cost for Storm Blue, Union, and then I'm not sure if you are familiar with a pair, but it's like Street Fighter did a collab of Nike, like the early 2000s, their SB collection. But it's an all blue Chun-Li Dunk Low.
Okay.
And I almost got it. We were in Vegas and I saw it on this guy's table for like $400 and it was a size 12. And I was just sitting there like, bro, let me try it on. Let me see. But you know, SBs have the fat tongue. And I was just sitting there like, it's not going to fit. I know in my head it's not going to fit. And I tried it on and I'm like, he's
You're
like, does
so
it fit,
sad.
bro? I'm like, no. I was like, I
I
want
think
to
you
buy
should have
it.
bought it.
I know.
I told him to just buy it. I was like, maybe your feet will shrink or something.
Wear it when it's winter without socks. Pull the
Yeah.
insole out.
Yeah.
Like, good.
I was like, got the insole, you're fine.
Yeah. And I
Should've
was just,
bought it.
Yeah. And then I also missed out on one pair. It was a Stussy SB. I was like 20. It was like 2013. So the Stussy SB wasn't that hyped yet.
Right.
It was right around like $200, and we were in LA, or we went to Riff, San Francisco, and then I was like, that's too expensive. I'm not gonna pay resale. That same trip though, I bought 14 pair of Roshis.
You could have got.
Yeah, I was like in my mind, I was like 14 pairs of Roshi, or like, you know, one shoe, one Stussy SB. Now I look back, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. But it was like the most fire picture after. I took I had like 13 of the new colorways, and I was like, at that time, I was a really big fan of like how the design of the shoe was.
Yeah.
But then over time, it's like the shoe did not stand the wear of time.
Yeah.
You know, it's just like started fading away, started like deteriorating. And I was like, man, I look back at that Stussy SB because you just judged the one at the sneaker convention, and I was like, man, I hope they just pick him just because that shoe is just so nice.
It's
and
such a
like
good
it's
shoe.
a one of a kind.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's like that's like one of those like if you know kind of shoes.
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
you look at it, and it's like color blocking's pretty simple, and it's like very minimal branding. Like I think it's only like on the tongue tag.
Yep.
Yeah, and then that's it. And but it's still like such a beautiful shoe.
Yeah. Oh. When he got up there, I was like, oh, probably losing to that and probably losing to the cause. And I was like, if they had first, second, and third, I maybe have made it to third.
For those of you guys don't know, we were just at the Utah Sneaker Convention, and Amy was she was one of the in the contest for best heat on feet.
Yeah.
And then you know, she had to go up against a great cause for the Stussy SB, and then the winner of it all, the Red Octobers.
Yeah, that's like how do you lose that?
Yeah.
Unless you got like some crazy PE or
yeah.
like, you know, friends and family shoe. Like someone wears a pair of Red Octobers, you're like, okay.
I was like, from now on, whoever's hosting those shows, they cannot pick them anymore. Because like right
No
when the
more
judges
Red
turn around,
Octobers.
it's like, okay, we know who the winner is, but let's see who's second now.
Right. They just need to have like a trophy that's like the Red October trophy. It's like, here,
Yeah.
you have this anyway. Let's go to like everybody else.
Second best heat on feet. So for you and your career of teaching, and then having now an online presence, how do your students feel about that? Like, how do they look up to you?
So it's kind of weird because like in the beginning when it first started like blowing up a little bit, students would come and be like, yo, I saw your video on like Instagram, or like I saw that like such and such account like reposted your video, and it's like, that's crazy. And it's like, yeah, it's pretty cool. But then now like I guess like kids don't bring that like to my attention as much, but they kind of like already know who I am before they even come to class. Sometimes because their friends will tell them, or like their older brother or older sister will tell them. And so like some kids will know, And then, like, because this school year, especially, because, like, every morning I take a picture of what I'm wearing, and then I take a picture of, like, my full outfit, just because I want to try to wear a different pair of sneakers every day the whole school year. So I'll have kids, like, walk in when I'm taking my picture. They're like, oh, like, sorry to get in. It's like, no, you're fine. Like, it's more awkward for me because I got to look like no one's here, but you're here. So, like, I'm not trying to shame you, but, like, it's, you know, it is what it is. You're just chill, and then we can chat. So kids know it that way. More so now, I think, because I bring the camera to school to do that stuff for this year. But I mean, no one ever like, I don't know, no one ever like brings it up a lot, especially middle school kids. A lot of them are really shy to begin with, and so like, but it's funny because you can tell the kids that kind of know, because those first few like days of school, they will wear their like heat that they have, and then they'll like, you know, give you that side eye, like, is he noticing like what I'm wearing kind of stuff. And it's like, and I always, even if it's like super like crazy shoe that some kid wears, or even if it's something like super basic, like I always try to give props to the kids for like whatever they bring, even if it like nothing crazy. And then maybe they're like, oh, yo, Dutton, I got these at the outlet for like this. I'm like, oh, those are sick, dude. Like those are great, nice and clean. And so yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I think, I mean, you talk about like the kids wearing their fits and stuff like the first few days. That was like probably the one thing we looked forward to as like, you know, kids, was that first day is like, I'm pretty sure every one of us has like laid out a fit on our 100%. Bed and like, yo, this is gonna be so fire. And you pull up to school, it's like, oh man, 15 other kids are wearing the same outfits. Like, were we all at the same store?
It's like, man, you got that hoodie too? Like, please.
I remember I was like, nobody has this like Mark Echo hoodie. And then I pull up to school, like 10 kids, and literally like walking around the school. I'm like, man, I did not stand out at all. I'm one of these guys now.
So good. Yeah, I remember doing that as a kid too. And I remember as a kid too, like I would try to sneak wear my basketball shoes that year to school. And my parents were always like, no, you only can wear those on the basketball court because we need those to last all season. Like you can't wear those to school because you'll ruin them like at the playground or doing whatever. And so like I remember, I can't remember what grade I was in, but I was walking to school and my dad was like late for work or something that day, because usually they're both gone when we would leave. He's pulling out and I have my basketball shoes on feet, and he like looks over at me, and I'm like, crap, he's gonna get so mad at me for wearing these things. And I was like right behind a fire hydrant, and I was like, maybe he won't notice. and I don't think he did. Maybe he did and just let it go. But he's like, oh, have a good day, love you, bye. And I'm just like, bye, Dad. I'm like, okay, dodge that one, let's go to school. And then like I don't know, the dumb things that we do as kids just to wear like our favorite stuff to like school. And like that feeling that kids get like when you wear that, it's like you feel so good. And like, I don't know, even now, as weird as it sounds, like I still want to feel that way when I like wear certain things or like wear certain shoes. And it's just not like, I don't know. It's there's just something about putting on like a brand new pair of shoes, no matter what it is, like Hype, Grail, $50 Sauconys, like whatever it is, like there's just something about that feeling that you get. And I don't know, it's addicting. Maybe it's consumerism. I don't know, but I love it.
Yeah, no, I get it. So this weekend we were actually in Vegas, and it was raining. Well, I didn't know it was going to rain. It said it was going to be cloudy, right? I was like, oh, I'm like, why is this rain? And so the only shoe I packed was the UNC, because it was like, oh, we're going to be there for the weekend. So I was like, oh, 2 outfits, blue. Okay, cool. And so I walk into this brand new sneaker shop that I've never been at before. And I guess like, as soon as we walked in, I guess he was whispering to himself. My friends overheard him. Is like, UNC's in the rain? Like, what the heck? Like, as soon as I walked in, but I didn't hear him, right? And so I was like looking through the racks, and then he was like, dang, Anna Call's tattoo? And I was like, what happened? And then and so I was like looking at him, and then it was like the owner of the store, and he was like, oh, he's like, I love Cause, my Cause collection. And then he started sharing about his whole Cause collection. And then he was like, hey, I like your shoes. He's like, but you wore them in the rain? And I was like, well, I'm not from here. I'm from Utah, and this is the only pair of shoes I've packed. So yeah, it was just so like, it was a good feeling, but it was funny because like when people, like when you wear something and you like, when people notice that you're wearing something cool, it's like, it's such a good feeling. So I get like,
and it's like an icebreaker too, because like you instantly like probably hit it up with that person. You have like a cool conversation. Like,
and then he told me the history of the shop, and he's like one of 5 partners of like the whole store, and they like I was like, dang, okay, cool.
There's so much more to it than just shoes. Like connecting with people, it's super cool.
Yeah, that's the one thing we learn. going to the sneaker conventions. Our first one we did was SneakerCon Las Vegas, and since I was like already like collecting sneakers and stuff, so I never really like thought about joining the community or like just doing what everyone else is doing. Like I don't go camp out or I didn't do any of the other stuff with everyone. I only went because my cousins went, and that's the reason I got really into sneakers. My older cousin was just like, I remember we camped out in like 2009 for like Space Jams at Fashion Place, and I was like, that's the core memories. Is the one thing. Is like okay, and as I got older, I was like, okay, time to start buying shoes, start buying stuff like that, and then we went to Las Vegas and started talking to people. All these like everyone was super friendly.
Yeah.
And I was like, everyone has their own stories. Like I remember I tell this story too. Is like I met this one guy named Eugene. He was like a sneaker reseller from Chicago, and I ran into that same guy 2 times after the sneaker convention. And I remember we were at Conference Con. He's like, "Hey Tay, you probably don't remember me." And I was like, Eugene, right? And he's like, "Yeah, what's up, man?" And I was like, "Okay, cool." And then we see him at a festival, like 3 months later. I'm like, "Bro, are you following me?"
He's talking to me, man.
But it's like you can build like weird little relationships like that. It's like you can notice people, and people will notice you. Like you could be in California and you run into someone's like, "What are you doing here?" It's like, "No, what are you doing here? How are you? Wait,
Right?
you're from like the East Coast. I'm from Utah. Like I don't get it. How are meeting the same place, same time?" But it's like the connection you built with someone throughout time, with the stories you be able to share. So, like I'm pretty sure after she has that story like ingrained in her mind, that we go back to Vegas, he's gonna be at the Caesar's Palace next time we see.
Yeah,
him.
and you're
Or-
going to see him there.
Yeah. And I'll
And
be
there's-
like, hey, you're the shop owner.
It's like, yeah, you're the one that wore the UNC's in the rain.
Yeah, you just remember those things. Like, yeah, that's the coolest thing, I think, is just like those random interactions or those things and just like connecting people, and like nothing else matters. Like you're just genuine connection, like person to person in those moments. And I think it's just so cool that sneakers are able to do that for people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a question I actually had for you. Let's go back to like your students.
Yeah.
I see that you do a sneaker design contest for your students. How did you come up with that, and like when did you start that?
So I started that, I want to say like maybe 3-4 years ago, but it was kind of like, it was a really crappy project at first, honestly, until like I got John involved with it. Cause like it was like teaching kids Photoshop, teaching them Illustrator. It's like, design your dream shoe. This would be super cool. Like design it. And then kids are like, what are we going to do with it? And I'm like, it's a good question. I don't know, but like, just have fun. Like that's what we're going to do. And it's like a hard sell to these kids. So we started doing that, and I was like, well, maybe we could do stickers, maybe like print on a t-shirt, or like maybe you could put it on a poster we could print off and like hang it in your room. Something like that. So I mean, there was a little something there, but it wasn't super great. But it was just cool to see kids like creativity and stuff like that. And then I met John last year, like right before All-Star. Because like I DM'd him and was just like, hey, I saw a pair of shoes that he did, and I was like, hey, how much for one of your customs? And then we just started chatting back and forth, and then he ended up doing a shoe for me, and then I was like, yeah, I'll take some pictures of it. And then like he saw my pictures, and like we just like hit it off, and like best friends now.
That's crazy. I would have never knew that you guys only been friends for a year.
Yeah, like a year. And so like it's been fun knowing him, but sorry, that's a sidetrack. But but yeah, like with the shoe thing, it was it last year? Yeah, it was last year that we, like John and I did it together for the first time. And like I was there doing some pictures for him or helping him with something. And I was like, hey man, like I do this shoe competition where my kids get to design shoes. Like, what if we took it a step further? Like, I know it might be a lot to ask for you, but like, what if like I bought the base shoe and then you provide your services and like make the students design? And he's like, yeah, let's do that. And so like last year it was crazy, like super cool to see kids. Cause like when I presented it to him, I was like, oh yeah. And I tried to play it off like all like nonchalant. So I'm like, yeah. So like at the end of it, we'll have some competition, you know, yada, yada, yada. And I guess we'll have like the winning shoe made into an actual shoe. Not a big deal or anything like that. And kids are like, wait, what? What'd you say? And then you get the kids that are like, that have done nothing the entire semester. Like, wait, how do I do this again in this program? It's like, bro, like you should have done all these assignments, like so that you knew how to do this. And so all these kids were like totally invested now in the whole thing. And then, we threw it up on like my story, had kids like vote, or people vote like on polls and stuff like that. And then the winning shoe, we did it last year. And then John pulled some strings to get like the Jazz Bear there and did a whole big thing with it. And it was super cool just to see like the kids like just, I mean, he didn't have the smile off his face. His parents didn't have the smiles off of their faces. And it was just like such a cool thing. And like we were talking about, like, it's just more than just like a sneaker. Like it brought like so much happiness to him and like to his family and like his friends and stuff. And like this kid, he's normally a pretty quiet, shy kid.
Yeah.
And then it was at the beginning of this year. He's in high school now. He came back just to say what's up. And like he was never the kid that would just like come in and say what's up.
Hi.
Yeah. So he came back and just said, hey, what's up? And just like we had a cool conversation, like thanking me for like that opportunity and stuff. And like it's like, that's so cool. Like I'm glad that we could like help you, like give you that confidence. Cause like that's the most important thing for me as a teacher is I want these kids to be confident in their abilities. And even if they don't win the competition, like you can see that one of your peers did. And like maybe this kid like will be something that he remembers the rest of his life. Maybe he'll be a designer, maybe he won't. But it's still like something just to instill confidence to show kids like, yes, you have like abilities. And if you like really focus in on something, cool stuff happens.
Yeah.
And so that was really cool. And then this one that we did earlier this school year, again, like a kid who was like super quiet.
This is the Mac Miller one.
Yeah, the Mac Miller one. And he's
so cool.
This kid's like very, very quiet, very reserved. Like I don't think I heard his voice like the entire time that I had him in class. And then we go and like I was talking a lot with his dad, like texting him and stuff. I was like, when can we meet up? Like, do you want to do it at your house? Do you want to do it at the school? And he's like, no, can we just do it like the skate park by our house? I'm like, yeah, sure. So we like go to the skate park and he didn't want like any like publicity, nothing with it. Cause this kid's just like, I don't want any of that. Like I saw last year, like his dad was telling me this cause he wouldn't tell me this. He's like, yeah, he was saying like the kid last year had the Jazz Bear and they made like this big old thing out of it. He's like, I don't want that. Like that kind of makes me nervous. We're like, okay, no worries, bro. Like we got you. And so like we go there and like we give the kid the shoe and he's just like grinning from ear to ear. And he had like one of his homies there with him. And like, from like the big production that we did the year before to like this one was a little bit more intimate with him and his parents and his friend. Still like same thing. You see the parents just super excited. You see the kids super excited just to see like their design happen. And like I've run into the kid a few times in the hallway and stuff. And then like I'll go out of my way like, what's up, Roman? How you doing, buddy? And he's like, hey, like, you know, just he finally talked to me. Like I got that. Like I know what your voice sounds like, man. So like it was just so cool. Just seeing these kids just like go all out on something like that. And then just to see like some of their stuff's crazy. Like the creativity that they have is like, it's like, man, I'm not that creative. Like you guys are just have these ideas. Like don't let anybody tell you that your ideas are bad. Like just run with it. Cause you'll find someone that it resonates with. And like that Mac Miller one, like I was worried because there was one that was going up like a kind of a Travis Scott type shoe. It's like, oh, that's super hype. Like everyone's going to vote for that shoe. But like that Mac Miller one won by like a landslide. And like everybody resonated with it and just like what the kid wanted to like come across with that story. And I thought that was super dope. Just because like this kid poured his heart and soul into that design. And then for him to see it come to reality and for all these other people that he's never met, like back
to vote for it.
To vote for it. Like he was just, I mean, ultimate confidence booster for kids. And I feel like middle school is like that weird time of life when you're trying to find yourself. And so when you get like just that little bit of confidence, like that can go a long way for these kids. And it's been super cool to be able to do that. And I mean, big shout out to John for like
shout out JSM
taking that to another level. Like JSM, love you, bro. Like, thank you.
Yeah, that's amazing. Like when I first saw that you posted that competition, I was like, man, this is so cool. How come we never had anything like this when we were going to school and stuff? But I'm like, I appreciate that you're really doing that now and putting your best foot forward because the one thing about, you know, for you guys is that you get to see the youth coming out, right? So you get to see what changes that you can make and like how you can inspire kids because it's the one thing that, well, like I didn't make it through a lot of schooling. Like I dropped out like my freshman year or something like that in high school. But it was like, now that I think about it, I was like, if I had like teachers that actually paid more attention to me or like actually like reached out to me and like try to figure stuff out, I was like, I wonder if I would have stayed in school or something like that. But I never built a connection. And then for you to go out there and like, hey kids, you want to design a shoe. And if you guys, you know, make a really cool shoe, you guys can have it like brought to life.
Right.
And then I was like, when I saw that Mac Miller one, I was like, I'm voting for that one. Because like that one I felt, you know, I was like, this one's amazing that someone in middle school.
Knows who
First
Mac
of all,
Miller is?
it's like a mass like the Travis Scotts and like all these other great artists, but like Mac Miller was like someone that, you know, in like 2010 was like me and him were probably the same age. I think we're like he's like a couple months older than me or something, and I was like, man, I wish I was as cool as this kid because we were the same age.
Right.
And then for a kid to be maybe like 13 years or not even 13, maybe like about 15 years younger than me, knowing who Mac Miller is, knowing that his legacy is still carrying on through the youth.
Yeah, and like the thing too about that too is like, the design for that was like from one of his like not most popular albums too, and I was like, man, this kid gets it. Like he's like not just like mainstream. Like I listen to Drake, I listen to Travis Scott. Like I went to his concert. Look at my Travis Scott shoes. Like that kind of stuff. Like he just like it connected and it hit on so many levels, and I think that was cool because I feel like kids at that age aren't able to communicate how they feel verbally very well. And so being able to see how they are able to communicate through the things that they design.
Yeah.
Because like a lot of that class, I spend a lot of time trying to build up their skill set so that they can eventually get to that point by the end of the semester where we do stuff. We'll do like some poster designs, and then like the shoe design's kind of like the pinnacle of it all. Yeah. But it's really cool just to see kids. And then this last year, or this year with the Mac Miller one, I tried to hone it in a little bit because with the one that we did for Charlie, I was just like, have at it, have fun. Yeah. And like kids were designing crazy stuff. Like some kid had like a pair of like Bruce Lee Air Mags. I'm like, yeah, that's never going to happen. Sorry, God.
Dang.
I can't fund that shoe. I'm sorry.
I can't get the base for that.
So like this year, like I talked with John too about it because we kind of went back and forth on it, and it was like, okay, you need to find a base shoe that's within this price range. And then once you find the base shoe within this price range, the most meaningful sneakers to people are the ones that tell stories. And I tried to like drive that point home with my kids. Yeah. And like I showed pictures of shoes like on there. It's like, how many of you know what this shoe is? And I like throw up like a pair of like Travis Scott Jordan 1s or like some Off-White 4s because every kid knows what those are. Yeah. And then like I threw up some other ones up on there that I personally thought had great stories, like the Notre Dunk Highs. Like not a lot of people know that one. Yeah. And then I throw up like some Joe Freshgood like New Balances. And kids are like, I don't know what those are. I'm like, and that's okay. You don't know what those are, but those are stories, and that's how you connect with people is through your stories that you want to tell. And so like I'd not only have them design it, but then I would also have them type up a little thing on it, like why you chose that design. What was the inspiration behind your design, and why do you feel like that's a story that needs to be shared? And just some of the things that these kids were saying and doing. I had them work with like a partner on it too. And some kids were like, there was a lot of cool ones that had to do with like mental health stuff, where kids were like, yeah, like there was this one I remember that didn't make the final cut, but it had like all 4 seasons like on the shoe. It was like a dunk or something like that. Wow. It was a little crazy looking, but the story behind it was really cool because it's like, you know, the seasons of the year kind of like our emotions too, like they can change, but like the thing that's just constant, like we're just going to keep moving and going forward through all of that stuff. And I was like, middle school kids are thinking super deep about this stuff. Yeah. And like, I don't know if anyone else is like taking the time to like understand the stories that they want to tell. And so like seeing that, like, it was just like, I don't know, like reading some of these stories, like I got chills, like thinking like some of these things that these kids want to share with people. And it was just super touching to see that stuff. And, you know, I would love like, and I tell the kids too, is like, I would love to do this for every single one of you. Yeah. I really wish I could. 'Cause like just to see their story being told on like a physical thing that they can have and own is just, it's so cool. And I really wish like, maybe one day, if someone from like some big company's listening, like give me millions of dollars so I can do this for my students.
Yeah, that'd be so cool.
Taking donations now.
Yes.
Well, I like that you've been able to use your platform, and you and John, shout out to you both that, you know, being able to create such a project for the youth, you know, and I was literally just sitting here thinking like, man, I wish like every kid can have this feeling because when you talk about it, it's like, what are kids going on? You know, like I think a lot of us probably never talked about our emotions until we became adults. Yeah. And even as adults, a lot of us, because we never talked about our emotions when we were young, we were never able to share, you know, with people even until this day. And for you, like, I was just thinking about that story about all the seasons and stuff. I was like, based off the shoe itself, I probably was like, okay, it's, you know, it's a cool shoe. But then the story behind the shoe was like, man, that's a really amazing thought process that you went through in, what, 7th grade?
Yeah, 7th, 8th grade. Like,
wow, like, what do you do? Like, what is a kid going through to like be able to speak about that, and like how are they gonna bring it out? And for them to bring it out through a shoe is just like, man, we love that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's crazy.
It's super
What-
crazy.
What was the inspiration between the behind the Mac Miller one?
So the kid, like, he really liked Mac Miller, and I talked with him a little bit about it afterwards. He says, like, I really love this album specifically. It was like Femme Fatale or something like that. He's like, I really love this album specifically because he's like, it's just so elegant. Like, it's not like banger song, you know, like heavy beats or anything like that. Like, it's really like soft compared to the rest of Mac Miller stuff. And he's like, I really like to listen to this album when I skate because it just like chills me out. It just gets me in like a good mood when I go and skate and stuff. And yeah, I mean, it wasn't anything like super deep like the Four Seasons one, but it was just like something that this kid uses to just mellow out when he skates. And he's a good little skater. Like, he's got some sponsors and stuff too, and he goes and does like comps and stuff. So like seeing like how music can inspire this kid to just like get in his zone and do what he does, like, yeah, like music's super influential to like me too, and helps me like create and do things too. So, and then just seeing how music influences these kids in specific ways, like, yeah, especially that album. Like, and I'll be honest, that's not my favorite Mac Miller album, but it's like, this kid must know, and he knows Mac Miller stuff to know that that's like his favorite album.
Yeah, he's got a filled album because like, you know, going back to like 2010 and going forward, like I listened to a lot of Mac Miller. I put a lot of people onto Mac Miller at that time, and then that was probably one of the albums that like kind of fell off my radar. It's like, okay, he's trying new things, and he was like trying out this new sound. But then like after you posted the competition, I was like, hold on, let me go back and listen to this again.
That's what I had to do too.
Right.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, I get it. Like as if I was still young and like listening to that as a, you know, as a teenager, I would have felt it a lot more than as an adult. And I was like, okay, that kid probably knows something that we don't know, or he probably loves that album for a specific reason that we don't know. Right.
Yeah. And like, it feels like it's an experience, right? Like, and that's what was cool about that is like, a lot of people message me, is like, oh, that Mac Miller album, like, don't really listen to that album, but I went back and listened to it, like you said. And then I went back and listened to it. And then instead of it just being a design, it's an experience that the viewer or somebody gets around the shoe design that just like resonates, and it just like hits you in your feels. And you're just like, man, like, these kids, like, they're going to do some crazy stuff in their life. If they're thinking this deep and like this, like, thoughtful about things at this age, like, man, like, they're going to do some really cool stuff in their lives.
Yeah, like when I sit down and like talk to my like nephews or little cousins and stuff or nieces, like the way that their thought process now is just because like the internet just feeds them so much stuff. Like, I'm surprised at how much they're able to take in, but then also learn. And they're like, they're teaching a lot of us how to do things now. And like, I remember I was talking to my little cousin, and he was like, yeah, when I listen to music, I like to see colors. And I'm like, you know who saw colors when they were like making music? Pharrell. He was talking about like each beat was like a different, you know, color that he saw, and I was like, what are the kids eating? What are the kids listening to or doing that they are able to like project it like that, you know? And so for a lot of the youth now, they're given a lot of opportunities now to be able to take things they learn and then put it into the world now.
Oh yeah, 100%. And then it's like a lot of that stuff, like for their age, the things that they think and the things that they like can put out there is super profound. Like things that we can't even, like, I don't know, sometimes we don't even think of as adults, and you're just like, man, these kids are going to be crazy.
Yeah. As long as they get advanced with the technology, because technology should keep getting crazier and crazier. As long as, because like for us, I'm barely learning how to use Illustrator and Adobe, all the Adobe stuff. I'm literally learning it because with the podcast.
Right.
Like over the last year, I was like, man, I remember the first 3 months was the hardest 3 months for me learning all this stuff. And then like up until recently, I'm like, man, I can put a Thunderbolt on a video now. And then boom,
like,
flash it. I'm like, yeah, I got it.
You got like 20 of them. Boom, 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 boom. Yeah, no, it's fun because like when you have something that you're passionate about, like the podcast and like creating things, you kind of like force yourself to learn the tools to do what you want. And like that's how I was as a kid, because I remember like Photoshop. My mom and dad were a teacher, so my dad had like one of the like older like first editions of Photoshop.
Like CS.
Yeah, oh, it was so bad. Like they were so bad back then. But we used to take like pictures of us on the trampoline, like poses with like the basketball, and then we go and like take a picture of like the basketball hoop in the driveway, and then we would like, you know, make it look like we're dunking the basketball. And then my dad printed it off, put it on like his desk at school, and then people would be like, whoa, who's that? It's like, that's my kid. Like, how old is he? He's 10. And so, because that was before people think like Photoshop's a thing,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And they're like, no way, like he's gonna go to the NBA. He's like, yeah,
Yeah.
probably. You know, he's just like egging them on and like rolling with it too. So,
That's
yeah,
so
I mean, it's just
funny.
like those kinds of things. Like and that's what I try to do with my kids is like take down that learning barrier, so that they like get comfortable with some tools, and then at least get comfortable with the layout. And then once they get comfortable with that, then it's like, you know,
Yeah.
world's your playground. Like you can do whatever you want because you know how to use the tools. Because for me, it was, I didn't know how to do that. My dad taught me. And then going into like college and stuff, when I wanted to learn how to edit my photos, man, I watched so many YouTube videos. I'm sure you have too,
Yeah.
to like figure stuff out. And like, you want to learn because you want to create those things. And then
Yeah.
like, it's almost as enjoyable learning like the lightning bolts or like how to do like those tools or those things as it is to like actually create the thing. So it's just like, man, Adobe knows what they're doing.
Yeah, I got invited to the Sundance Adobe stuff,
Oh, sick.
and they were showing off the new stuff for Premiere, like studio sounds and stuff. And they did a couple panels where all the like directors, actors, and actresses were like talking about stuff. And they just kept going back to it. It's like, yo, if any filmmakers are out there, or if anyone wants to be creative, Adobe is a place to start.
Yeah.
And I was like, man, I wonder if I can like keep teaching myself more and more things. And then like I'll be up at like 2 a.m. She's like, go to bed. I'm like, no, I'm trying to remove this green screen. I got to figure out how to do it. And then I was like, well, yeah, I can just ask Google how to do our YouTube, and then boom, teaches you exactly where you need to go. And you can literally learn in 30 seconds now, is because short form content.
Oh yeah, you get, and I follow like, I can't remember some of the accounts, but like I'll follow some stuff on Photoshop. I'm like, man, that's really easy. I should try that. And like, I don't know. And then once you learn the tool, then you get like the ideas start churning in your head too, where you're just like, oh man, now that I know how to do that, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. And then it just like, it just goes. And it's super nice. Like you said, nowadays, like short form content, YouTube, Google, there's access everywhere to all that stuff. So if you really want to create, it's not that hard to like just few keyboard.
Yep.
Strokes
And it was
you're
like,
good.
even if you don't have like, you know, Adobe stuff, through Canva is free. Like I've been telling all these kids like, yo, go make stuff on Canva just for fun.
100%.
Sit there and put stuff together, because like, you know, you can now make anything and people are just buy it just to buy it because they like it.
Yeah,
right.
like
That's
the way it looks.
the power of the internet now, is that you can be 13 years old sitting on Canva and it's like, oh, I can make this into a shirt, and then you can make it into a shirt, and then that shirt can sell out. You know, and that could be the start of what you really enjoy. So, you know, I tell everyone that watches the podcast, or like, you know, or the people that come on, is like, everything's super easy as long as you want to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you have like a reason to do it. You want to do it. Yeah. And like I tried at the beginning when I taught the digital design stuff, digital media stuff, to teach my kids Premiere. And then people were like, you want to teach middle school kids Premiere? And I was like, yeah, like I know how to do it. It shouldn't be too bad.
Yeah.
And it was pretty bad. Didn't work out so well. And so like I was trying, like I then kind of like defaulted back to like Premiere Rush. But then now like I teach, because it's their first, a lot of these kids' first time doing video.
Yeah.
I just throw them like on CapCut. Like, it's
Yeah,
like
super easy.
all these kids have it on their phones already,
Yeah.
because they want to make like TikTok videos. And then like I got it on my computers, like the desktop version. And it's just like, again, it's just super simple. It's like you can teach them like about the timeline, like cutting, splitting, transitions, like all this stuff, just so they get the base. And then like, it's like, here's these classes in high school that you can take on like video stuff to like really dig deep into it. So yeah, like you can take the stepping stones. You don't need to, I mean, Premiere's I don't understand all of Premiere. It's still like, you sometimes when I open it, I'm just like, ooh, there's a lot of stuff here.
Literally, because like we've had a couple you know, filmmakers or editors come on the podcast, and they're like, we actually got to go behind the scenes with some our friends over at RP Daydream, and they're like big in the music video community here,
Right.
like in the music scene, and like we got to watch behind the scenes of how they get the music videos together, shooting everything, and I was like, man, you guys are like standing on ladders, like getting different shots, and I'm like, I'm over here like I'm just taking behind the scenes pictures, and then I went home. I came home and I was like, I wonder if I can make a music video.
Yeah.
You know, because that's what was going through my
wheels
head.
are turning.
I'm
yep.
like, I wonder if I could do that. I was like, all right, I'm gonna go sit in Premiere and like put together a weird video, see if I'm able to do it. And then I was like, this is so hard. It's like, you got to key cut this, you got to do this, you got to cut this, because like how fast a music video moves is like you literally
like,
have literally like
so
0.5
many-
seconds
yeah.
cutting. I'm like, how are you to like? How do you? I was thinking to them or myself and like thinking about how they do it. And I was like, how do you guys make this scene? Because there's no way that and granted they've been doing this for years,
Right.
But for me, just sitting there and like the first 10 minutes on my computer, I'm like, I don't know how they do it. And then I kept watching videos, and I was like, That's how they do it.
Yeah.
That's everything makes sense. Is you have to be really patient with yourself in those programs, Photoshop, Illustrator, Premiere. You have to be really
Super
patient with
patient.
yourself.
Yeah. Super patient, and then lots of swear words, happen through all that. But is what it is.
I remember we shot her episode of the podcast. She was a special guest. Everyone wanted to get to know her, and then I went downstairs and edited it, and then I'm loading the file onto the PC. And I had this bad habit of deleting files right away.
Oh no!
And
Deleted the whole episode.
I didn't rename her. So like the two cameras over here, I didn't rename hers. So it was like 57. And then so I went in, put it in. I'm loading the second one, and it says like, "Are you sure you want to replace this file?" And I was like, "What? Replace what file? What?" Because I usually rename it.
Yeah.
I'm like, replace whatever, and then it replaces her entire scene. And I'm sitting there stressing out. They're walking downstairs like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "I lost everything." And they were like, "No way, you lost everything." So I had to pay for a recovery thing. I paid like $75 to recover it. And it was like, oh man. So now I'm just like, okay, slow down. Take your time. Like, delete everything after. And it had to be her episode. That was I was really so stressed about it. I was like, I can't believe I deleted her episode. I could delete anyone else's, but I was like, I deleted my wife's video, and now she's gonna hate me for the rest of my life. She's like, "You're not good at this. Why do you delete stuff?" I'm like, I don't know. I was
like,
sorry.
be more organized with your folders. And he was like dragging and all the stuff. And I'm like, what is going on? And he's like, I lost it. I was like, oh no.
Everyone's mind works like different. It's like,
Yeah.
And so when she does things, she's very organized about how she puts things right. And then she goes onto my desktop. She's like, "Why do you have a million things on your desktop?" Because like, I don't know. I like to see everything in one place.
Yeah.
Because like, I got to see my t-shirt here. I got to see my like podcast videos. I got to see my reels. And she's like, "Why don't you just go make folders for all that?" I'm like, I don't know. I just don't. I just like doing it the way I do it because that's how I've always done it.
He's the worst. I'm like, what is
all
happening?
the things at once? Like I need to see it all.
And I'm like, I'm gonna start my own folder here. I was like, in his documents, and then he's just everywhere. And I was like, this is why. Good thing we don't share the same like username. I'm like, I can't do this with you.
Stress you out. See all those things. On
As long as you have everything named you want it, the search bar is right there. You type it in, it's like there it is.
Search bar is how I'm a folder guy, so
Yeah,
I'm
see?
not knocking that at all. But
Yeah.
I have to do folders. But
Yeah.
if you go in those folders, well,
Yeah, that's okay.
at least it looks clean until you go in the folder.
Yeah.
But then when you
Yeah.
go in the folder, oh boy, it's a mess.
Yeah, we literally had to buy a new hard drive, like a 6 terabyte hard drive, and then I've literally filled up half of it
Oh man.
with all the
Yeah,
content.
yeah.
Like filling up a terabyte is really hard enough, but I'm over here like I don't like to delete things now because of that.
Yeah.
I'm like I have to go back and like make sure I can find it again. Go back to that video. I remember we had it was like a random morning. Linda had messaged Amy about finding a reel for his episode,
Right.
For Mo, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I have that file still. Thank God I didn't delete it. So I went back and I was like, put it together in like 5 minutes and like, because we were trying to find it, and I was like, okay, cool. Now I get why people don't delete things, because like you can hold on to like core memories like that.
Oh yeah, like I have, and I feel like it's kind of cheating a little bit because like as a teacher, we have like they give us a Google Drive account that just has unlimited space on
Thank God for
it.
that.
I know, right?
Oh
like
my
you know
gosh.
too.
I love it.
Wow, I need
last
that.
week I got a message from like someone at the district's like, you've been identified as somebody who uses a lot of Google Drive space, and it's like, and like, do I got to back this up now? Like, what am I going to do? I'm like scrambling. I'm like, oh, I got to find hard drives. How much does more Google Drive space cost on my personal and like all this stuff? And I'm just like, so I've been downloading everything, putting it on a hard drive because I'm like, man, if they take away stuff on there, because like all of my photos from like back in high school, like are all on there. And so it's like, I don't want to lose any of that stuff. And then there's no way I'm paying for more Google Drive space because I looked and it's like, I have like 10 terabytes of stuff on my Google Drive. And like, I mean, it goes back forever. Like I got old videos of like me playing basketball and like middle school stuff. So it's like way back there. So I was like, well, the best I get her buy like some hard drives and stuff like that because I'm not paying like $500 a year for Google Drive
it's insane.
space. Like,
oh gosh, I started making new emails because I was like, I'm like, I'm not gonna pay for more Google on my Gmail. I was like, no, I'm like new email.
And then you use those emails for more sneakers accounts.
Yes.
Right?
Yep, you
Dual
got
purpose.
it. Oh my god.
I guess to like backtrack from earlier, with that I guess it's probably like an end of a unit project for you with the shoe.
Yeah,
design,
yeah,
right? And seeing like the impacts you're making on the kids, I guess like every teacher has that question of who was the one like teacher or adult in your life that made an impact in you and like inspired you to be a teacher. Because you mentioned your mom and your dad was a teacher too, so I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, like so. Funny thing about that is like with my parents being teachers, I guess I was just used to the lifestyle.
Okay.
Because like summers, I was used to having mom and dad home all the time, and we would just chill and like go do stuff.
Yeah.
And so that was just the life that I grew up, and I thought that was like normal. So then like after graduating high school, going to college, doing those things, it's like that's not normal. Like you need to work over the summer. Like you have to like do things like that. And then going to school, like I wanted to do like I couldn't make my mind up. It took me 7 years to get my bachelor's degree.
Took me 6. So
Yeah,
we're
we're
there,
in the
dude.
club, man. Yeah.
I'm proud of it. I don't care.
I don't care. And I tell my students that all the time. I'm like, you don't need to be like Mr. Dutton. Like make up your mind if you can, but if not, like it's cool. Figure yourself out.
Yeah.
I just wasted thousands of dollars. No big deal. But yeah, like, so I wanted to do like architecture. So like I started like studying architecture doing all that. I'm like, this is boring. I don't like this at all. So I was like, maybe I want to do engineering. So then I like started studying and doing engineering, taking some of the prereq classes to get in the engineering program. And I'm just like, this is hard and I don't like this. I would have to sit in front of a computer all day and look at lines, and I don't want to do that. So then I like shifted into like another type of engineering. Maybe I thought it was this mechanical, so I tried manufacturing. Didn't like that at all too. And I'm just like, I remember calling my parents, I was like, I don't know what I want to do. Like I've tried all these things, nothing seems to like interest me. And then they're just like, yeah, we'll just, we're here for you, like find something. And then I think it was like finished that semester and I found like this technology education program, because like I was always fascinated with technology and stuff. And this technology education program is like everything technology, from like engineering to woodworking to like manufacturing to graphic design to video production to photography, like covered everything. I'm like, wow, I like all that stuff. Yeah. Like I'm gonna go do that. Okay. And so like I did that, and I remember calling up my parents like, hey, I found my major, like I really love it, I love doing this. They're like, oh, what is it? I'm like, I'm gonna be a teacher like you guys. And my dad's like, oh no, you're not. Like he's like, don't you do that. I was like, no, Dad, like I really like, this is what I want to do. Like this is gonna be good. Yeah. And so like, and like I've always been kind of that person that jack of all trades, master of none. Right. I never had like one thing that I was just like super passionate about. It was always like, this is cool, that's cool, so is this. And like that's how my mind has always worked with things. And so when I found this program, like to get my education degree in that, I was like, this is what I'm supposed to do. Okay. And then I love it in middle school too, because in middle school, I'm not like tied down to one subject like a lot of these elective high school teachers are, like not teaching strictly photography or strictly graphic design or strictly video. Like I teach everything, and it's just like, it's perfect for me, because then like I don't lose interest in any of those things. Because if there's something that's like, ooh, this was really cool, I watched this video or I saw like this show that had this on it, I want to do this project in my classroom. It's like with engineering, or like, ooh, I tried this with like photography and Photoshop, I'm gonna do this with my kids with Photoshop. So it's like it was perfectly tailored to how my mind works and my interests. So it just like stars aligned after 7 years, and it worked out.
Time.
So yeah.
You ever think about going up to high school?
What's that?
High school, teaching
I've
high school?
I've thought about it, and like I've talked with a bunch of high school teachers that teach like the video and the photography stuff, and like my reservation would be, and I think I'm starting to know myself, and my wife especially, she's like, you will like hyper focus on something to death, and then once you are done with it, you want to move on to something that's completely different. And she's like, I don't think high school is going to be good for you, because if you go to high school and teach photography or like video stuff, you're going to hate what you do in your free time, because then that's all you're doing. You go to work, you teach photography, you come home, you do photography. And I'm like, glad I married you. Like that's a good perspective, because it's like in my mind, it's like, yeah. My hyper fixation on photography, I want to go be a photography teacher. Yeah. And then I'd probably end up like not liking it anymore. So it's like, I got to find like weird little balances to be able to enjoy the stuff that I enjoy.
Cool.
Yeah, I'm a weird person that way, but
no, that's awesome. Like, no, for real, that's cool. Like, so it seems like your wife helps you with like a lot of input and stuff. How do you? Because you coach too, right?
Yeah, I coach girls basketball.
Okay, cool. How do you balance that, like with personal life? Because I know like social media is gonna take a lot of time, and then coaching season. I know that work. I'm in it right now too. It's so much, you know.
Crazy. What do you coach?
track and field.
Okay. Yeah.
So like, how do you balance that? Because I'm learning right now.
Right.
And last year, I don't know, your wife probably told you the same thing. Last year was my first year. And Vanessa was like, you know, I felt like I was single. And I was like, oh my God, that is terrible.
No,
And then she told me, she's like, but this year you're better. I was like, okay, I'll take that. You know, so as long as I progressively get better, that's good. But I don't know, did you kind of go through the same thing too of just kind of juggling that personal life and work balance?
Yeah, but first off, dude, you're brave for doing that in your first few years of teaching
Oh,
coaching too.
thanks,
Like,
man.
you're crazy.
Yeah, it's just go and do it, right?
Yeah.
And like you'll figure it out, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's like, I don't know. My wife, she works full time too. So
Okay.
she's a respiratory therapist. So her work cycle is like she's on a week and then off a week.
Oh, okay.
So like there's a lot of times that she's like not around the family too. And then like I'm doing stuff with the kids. So we just like our life is chaotic. Like it just is what it is. But like our top priority through everything is our kids.
Right.
So like most of the time when I do content stuff, it's after the kids are in bed, or like on a Saturday, I'll do it for a few hours in the morning. Or if I have like any client work and stuff, I'll do it late at night or in the morning before like, you know, we get going for the day or whatever, just to do that. So I don't get a lot of sleep, but you know,
Hey, that's the life we signed up for, right?
It is.
Like,
And then during basketball season, so we have our practice at 6 a.m. We do it before school because our school only has one gym, so we got to share it with the boys team.
Yeah.
okay.
I like the 6 a.m. practice because then at the end of the day, like I can just go home.
Right.
And so like managing that, it's not too bad. Again, just super tired during basketball season because there'll be nights that I stay up and I have to get like client projects done and stuff like that. And it's just, you know, lots of caffeine,
Coffee.
get through that.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
It's just, it's life. So, but yeah, like we try to prioritize like when we're home, and our kids are awake or they're like not like doing much or whatever, we want to spend time with them as much as possible.
Oh, fun.
Which, you know, my kids are exhausting. I love them, but they're also very exhausting. So then even when the kids go to bed, and sometimes I just want to go to bed, but it's like, nah, like let's go do some stuff. Like
Right.
let's take some you time. And then I'm always glad that I do, even if I'm tired the next day, like it works out. I catch up on sleep on the weekend. So yeah.
Oh, yeah.
We just go
That's
fast.
awesome.
That's just how we do it.
Yeah. Would you consider yourself like a type A or type B teacher?
I don't know. I'm kind of relaxed. Like I'm pretty easygoing with
Okay.
my kids.
Yeah.
Like for the most part, I let my kids kind of not do what they want.
Okay.
Like I will give them like the instructions, or I'll have like a little lesson of something that they need to learn how to do. And then I'm just like, okay guys, go do it. And what I want you to do, like I'm your last resource for help. I don't want you to just rely on me
Right.
to get all of your answers. I was like, now more than ever, you guys have resources like crazy to get all the help that you need, especially when I'm teaching my digital like media class with like Photoshop and like all that stuff. I was like, before you come and talk to me, I need you to talk to the people around you first. See if they know how to do it. If they know how to do it, cool. There's your answer. If they don't know how to do it, use the internet. Like there are so many resources out there for you to be able to discover the answers that you need. And then like after all of that, if you still don't understand, then come to me and then I'll help you with it.
Right.
And like there's a little bit of a break in time with that with kids, because a lot of times like is as soon as a kid doesn't know something, it's like hands in the air immediately. And I go over them like, what's up? And they're like, I don't know how to do this. I'm like, oh, what'd you do to figure it out?
Nothing.
I raised my hand. I was like, cool. Well, put that hand back down. Ask your neighbors here. Like, it's okay. I know she's kind of cute and you're a little nervous about that, but like you can ask her anyway. I love to embarrass the kids. It's great.
Yeah.
And then they'll do that. And then like after they learn that, like it's great. And then when they raise their hands now, like after we've established that habit in my classroom, most of the time they're raising their hand because they want to show me what they've done, which is really cool. Because then they're like proud of something that they're just like, yo, Mr. Dutton, I didn't know how to do this, but then I figured it out and did this, and then I did this and this and this to get this. I'm like, that's really cool.
Okay.
So instead of them like asking for help, they're more like confident in showing off what they were able to discover themselves.
Oh,
So
tight. Okay.
some people would see that as lazy teaching, I guess, because it's like, you're the teacher. Aren't you supposed to be teaching the kids? It's like, yeah, I'm teaching them how to teach themselves.
Right.
Like,
Right.
because like, and I sarcastically say to these kids all the time, it's like, I know how much you care for and love Mr. Dutton, but I'm not going to be there the rest of your life to answer all your questions.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Google will, though. I
Yes.
promise Google will. So use Google.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think lately I've been looking at, it's funny because I saw the AE ones at Foot Locker. My wife and I were walking by and I was like, those are sick. And I was like, I seen them online, And when I saw it in person, I was like, those are sick. And I don't ball enough as much as I like to, but I was like, well, maybe that'd be a cool shoe to like wear every day, you know?
Yeah.
And then I saw you posting it up, and lately it's like, it's been your favorite shoe.
I love them.
Love it? Okay.
They're
it's
so
like
sick.
a beater almost, huh?
Yeah, well, like, so the first pair, I can't remember what the colorway is, like the coral or like the peach pair that like paid homage
Yes.
to like Georgia and stuff like
Right,
that.
that
for 'em.
first one.
Yeah, so I got those to hoop in originally. And
Okay.
so I'm like true to size 11. And then
Okay.
after wearing those a couple times, like breaking them in, they were kind of loose. And I was like, crap. And so I was like, okay, I'll get another pair, but half size down.
Okay.
So then I got the blue pair, half size down, and those are perfect now for balling.
Okay.
And so then the coral pair, I just started wearing those casually. And like, I kind of like it because like someone in one of my comment sections, like, this is giving me foam posit vibes from back in the day. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
they are. Because like,
Think about that.
as a kid, like you would just wear like the dopest like hoop shoe as like a casual shoe. And that was the
Yeah.
thing. And then there was a long time for a while where like nobody would wear hoop shoes casually anymore. It was just like there's a separation between casual and like performance. And it's like, man, I really like those. Like, I don't care what people think. I'm gonna wear those. And then when he said that foam posit thing, I'm like, you are absolutely correct. Like that is totally true with those. So I love them.
Okay. I got to buy a pair now.
They're
I got to go do it.
there's a little bit of a break-in period with them.
Okay.
Because like it's a performance shoe, right? So
True to size.
Yeah, true to size.
Okay, cool.
And then I just loosen up the laces, and then yeah, they're great. The All-Star ones, if you can get your hands on the All-Star ones.
Okay, I saw those. They were sitting at like the Fashion Place Foot Locker.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
Because you move them around, and like,
Okay.
it's like goes from gold to green to like purple. Like they're
Okay.
nuts. Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna do it. That's awesome.
They're so good.
Is I so doing like a little bit of research. I remember this was like a post maybe a year ago. Laney Fives.
Yes.
That's still the one.
That's still the one.
That's still the one. Okay.
That's still the one. Fun story about those two recently, because I was talking with John. I was like, because there's the 2013 pair and then there's the 2000 pair.
Yes.
I have the 2013 pair.
Okay.
Because I remember when those re-retroed, and I wasn't able to get them, but I got them a few years later. But the 2000 pair was like the first one that I saw, like someone wearing like in person. Like I was at a high school basketball game, kid on the opposing team was like wearing those. I'm like, man, those are crazy. What are those? I never knew what they were for the longest time until they re-released them in 2013. I was like, that was the shoe.
That was the shoe.
So now like I'm trying to hunt down a 2000 pair. And I found one the other day and I got it on eBay. Like the sole was crumbled and destroyed. And I was like, yo, John, like, could you do like a sole swap for me or something? He's like, yeah. So I order it. And then like next day wake up and the order's canceled. I'm like, what? What happened?
No.
And then like I messaged him, I'm like, yo, everything okay? And he's like, oh, someone bought it locally. I was like, I hate you.
Wow.
So, and then I can't find my size for a decent price because it was like $80 because the shoe like crumbling awful, but the upper was in like really good shape. So I was like, okay, those are the pair. But then I found another one, but it's like $350. This guy's asking. I'm like, no, it ain't. I ain't gonna buy $350 pair of shoes that are already crumbling. Like you need to come down on your price. So the hunt continues. For a pair of 2000s. So
That's funny. That's my favorite pair of shoes.
I love them. I love them.
I have
so
two
much.
pairs downstairs right now. One from 2013, one not 2000. I think both from them from 2013.
Yeah.
And then I remember we were hunting down for a while, and then she found one
I
in her
found
size.
a pair.
Yeah,
In my
Oh, wow.
size.
They're so
They're
good.
still wrapped.
They're so good though. Like I don't know what it is. Like there's nothing like they're not hyped. They don't sell for a ton of money, but it's just such a good looking shoe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think
Really
it's
nice on the colorway.
Yeah.
I'm a Chargers fan. I'm a Golden State fan. The blue and yellow really fit well with like where I was at in sports. But I've always like loved the Laney's because I think it was the first Jordan I looked at, and it was like the one that stood out to me really, like compared to all the red colorways, you know, the reds and stuff. That was the one that stood out for me because obviously he didn't play for a blue team until the Wizards.
Right. Yeah. And then like the thing that like I love the 2013 pair, but the thing it's just the subtlest difference on the 2000 pair is the Jumpman on the back.
Yeah.
It's just the blue versus the black one.
Yep.
Like, it's like, yeah, I could paint that blue, but it's not the same.
It's not the
thing.
same, yeah.
It's not the same. Like,
Yeah.
just when leather ages that long, then those cages get just a little bit yellow. Like, it just, it's beautiful. Like, I don't know what it is.
When I found out that was his favorite shoe, I was like, I have to get one to match.
Yeah.
And never broke it out.
Oh wow.
Saving it for a special occasion, I guess.
Yeah. Saving it.
We
His-
always talk
his
about
is
matching
more.
and stuff, but like I wear all my pairs. Like I can wear every single one pair of my shoes, and she would like, do I want to wear this today? But then also she has like 30 pairs that she does wear, so it's like hard for her to be like, I don't want to break out the breads today. Or I don't want to break out these because they're all DS.
Yeah. It's hard to break out a DS pair sometimes when it's so like, you're like, ooh, like that's a really nice shoe. Like, like I have the Balvin 3s. Haven't busted those out yet. Because like I get the shoe, I'm like, this is such a beautiful shoe. Like I don't know if I want to wear this because that sole like is so creamy and so clean. Like as soon as I wear that, that's gone.
Yeah.
But then in the back of my mind, it's like, nah, just wear it. But then I'm like, no. And then you have like the devil and the angel on your shoulder, like yelling at you to like wear or not wear the shoe. It's like, then my wife thinks I'm weird that way. It's like, you're weird. Like, why don't you just wear it?
That's what he says to me. Yeah.
It's her ongoing battle every week. Is like, should I wear this pair? I'm like, if you want to, you should. He's like, no, they're DS. Like, they're a really nice pair of shoes. I'm like, yeah, you also have another pair of shoes that look exactly like that. So it's like, go wear the one that's used then.
I don't even know what at this point. I don't even think I should even ask him because I'm literally gonna just fight with myself after I have the whole conversation. He's like, just wear it, and then I'm like, okay, I'll wear it, and then I'm over here like grabbing it, and I'm like, no, I need to put it back. I can't do it. It's so hard for me.
I feel that.
Yeah. It's hard breaking them out. At the beginning of the year, I had a slideshow and told just like kind of describing my kids, get to know you, and then in the middle of the year, like, Mr. Sun, sorry, you've only worn like 3 shoes. I'm starting to think you're not a sneakerhead. I'm like, trust me, I got a lot of shoes. For some reason this year, it's so hard breaking them out because they're like, oh, I like dead stock look, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, maybe I don't want to wear it today. Maybe something's going to happen today. Maybe I'm going to step on dog poop or something like that.
Yeah. Like some kid's going to trip and step on them in the hallway.
Right. Yeah. I was like, today's probably not a good day. And so I need to bust out some shoes before the year ends with like the last, 2 months, give or take, 2.5 months.
It's going quick.
Oh my gosh. This year's gone. I don't know about you, but it's gone by so quick.
And dude, the longer you teach,
progressively, right?
Oh my gosh, dude, it flies by. It's crazy. Like, 'cause this is my 10th year, which it doesn't feel like my 10th year teaching, but because I remember when I started and I saw like teachers like where I'm at now, I'm like, man, you're so wise, and, like, so like mature for your age. And then I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, you're not wise, you're not mature, like you haven't changed one bit. So like, yeah, it goes quick. But like when I started doing the like wear a different pair every single day through the school year, I was like, man, I really got to like think about this because I don't want to like front load it with like all my like heavy hitters and then like not have anything for the tail end. And then now it's like we have 2 months left and I'm like, man, I haven't worn like hardly any of my heavy hitters. Like I've just been wearing like basic stuff. So I was like, okay, it's last month of school. Like we're gonna bring it out. Yeah, Cause 4s. Got them. So it's like, here you go, kids. Mr. Dutton's gonna flex just a little bit on you guys.
That's sick. Are you you have a partnership with Under Armour, right?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So it was late fall last year. Mikkel, he's their like social media like creative guy. Okay. He just reached out email and was like, hey, we love what you do. We'd love for you to like do some stuff with Under Armour. Okay. So we chatted and stuff, and then like it's been for the last like few months been ongoing. Okay. They send me stuff in and just like, do your thing with it and take some pictures, and then they use it for their social media and stuff like that. So it's been really cool to see that. And like some people are like, dude, it's Under Armour. Like, why are you thinking that's cool? It's like, because it's Under Armour. Under Armour. Like it's a big company like that recognizes something that I do. So like it's super cool to see that. And like again, for me, like I love seeing what they're doing because as a kid, what made me fall in love with sneakers was like that discovery, like seeing something for the first time. And so for Under Armour, seeing like the things that they're doing, because I remember when they first started getting into footwear after they were doing like all of like the, athletic apparel stuff. I was like, that's kind of weird. But then like flash forward to where they're at now, like I'm seeing some of the stuff that they're doing super innovative. Just a lot of the technology that they're doing with like their soles and like the foam and stuff like that. Really comfortable. Their basketball lines right now, like the Currys and then like the it's like the Future Elite like flows or something like that. Those things are nuts because the midsole and the sole, it's just one thing. Like I'm looking at your breads. It's like it's all one thing. So like how does foam have grip? But then you like try it on the court and you're like, it's the most insane traction that you've ever seen. Ever. Like I tried those on and hooped in those the other night. I was like, these things are crazy. Yeah. Okay. But it's like, it'd be like seeing like a pair of like Ultra Boost taking off the rubber and then like thinking you can like move around and like actually have traction in the Ultra Boost. So they like figured out a way to incorporate the midsole into the sole. So it's still like soft and comfortable to wear and
Yeah.
supportive,
Right.
but also has traction and grip on the court. Like it's
Whoa.
wild. So yeah, like that had me like geeking out like right away with some of their stuff. So it's just really cool to see these advancements by like, because everyone knows like Nike, Adidas, Jordan brand,
Right.
but then seeing like some of these smaller companies doing all of these things just to get like into that space.
Okay.
Like I feel like their innovation is at like a whole nother level than like Nike and Jordan and Adidas right now, because they're kind of like riding some of their past successes. And I mean, I'm not dogging on them, but like I feel like the innovation is coming from a lot of these like smaller players in the game
Yeah.
right now, because they have so much to prove. And so yeah, it's been cool seeing a lot of the stuff that Under Armour's putting out, doing all that. And so yeah, like I'm super blessed. So like
That's awesome.
Mikkel, thank you for reaching out and having me do this. Like it's been great.
Shout out to Mikkel and Under Armour.
Yeah.
Any other brands you want to like dive into outside of like maybe shoes or
Anything
Anything,
really.
okay.
Like I would love to do, like I'm not where I feel like I struggle with like photography wise is like clothing. Like I feel like I have a hard time taking pictures of just like the clothes by themselves.
Yeah.
Because like again, I'm super hyper focused on like the shoes,
Right.
and that's where like I have fun doing that. So I'd love to learn more about that. But yeah, like shoe stuff, I don't know. Like I love doing shoe things. Like I've done projects with a lot of different people with shoes. There's a boutique in New Orleans that I'm starting to do stuff with, Nova. They carry like Asics and Sauconys and New Balances, and I've been working with them to like do some of their like social media stuff too. So that's been really cool. Just again, like to meet people and to just like share that connection through shoes, and then to share like another deeper connection through like the photography that I'm able to do with that as well. And it's been fun.
That's dope. That's awesome.
Man,
Yeah. Dang. That's crazy.
Wow.
Woo.
I'm over here like thinking like how to incorporate like clothes into your stuff and everything. Because like obviously like do fashion stuff. Because I for some reason just has ideas like in order to fund the kids' projects, like maybe you start an 80s sneaks clothing line, like and that'd be like that'd be like a really cool idea, and have the kids design the shirts.
I would love to do something like that. And then like for me, like I have a gajillion ideas like that. And then it's just like when I go to find like the logistical side of it, it's like, who's going to make these shirts? Do you know anybody who makes shirts? I don't know anybody who makes shirts. Do I need to go overseas to find someone who makes shirts? And it's just like this spiral thing. And so I have a friend that we went to college together, and then like we were here in Utah for a while. He's another teacher, teaches kind of the same stuff that I do. But then he moved out to California, and we used to do like screen printing and stuff together. Shout out Aaron, if you're going to listen to this. And so we did that for a while and just kind of had fun making our own like outdoor like theme designs and stuff on t-shirts. But screen printing like at volume, that's rough. Like unless you have like a bunch of people to like do it. And so like we're testing the waters together on like some apparel stuff. So the shirt that I'm wearing right now is one of the ones that we're going to be doing in the spring. And then we're doing like a sock collab too, just to kind of see like how that goes. Because if that goes okay, then like I don't know. We'll figure out the next logistical step, because he's doing all the screen printing for me right now to do it. It's like, dude, I'm sorry if this goes crazy, like, and you have to print a bunch of shirts. Maybe we should just cap it, and then you don't have to print as much. And if people want more, then we'll just print more. And if you need, like, I can fly out and help you print, because it's like, I don't want to put like, if there's a demand for something like that, I don't want to put it all in one person. So just trying to find like the logistical side of all that. So if anybody knows like t-shirt printing, screen printing, apparel stuff, hit me up.
We're right here.
We're here.
Yeah, you guys do it.
Yeah, we can help you.
I'm an idiot. I already know this. I bought some of your guys' shirts. I should know this.
No, it's and like over time, we've had to work with a lot of screen printers and like going in and learning how we want our clothes to be made and stuff. And like it's been a difficult process. But when we finally ran into like a few, local people here that we've been able to work closely with, and like we really enjoyed like this one. We had the guy who printed these shirts. He came on last Monday for last Wednesday's episode. Yeah. And he's up in Ogden. And I was like, no, there's no way I'm going to drive in Ogden to have my shirts printed. And I was like, he's literally one of the best in the state right now. And I was like, bro, worth it. I'm just going to go to you. He did my hat. He did everything. Perfect. And then everything at a fair price, and he literally said, he's like, I'm here to look out for those kids that want to start a brand that don't have money or have those shitty jobs, because we were all in that position. Right. And I was like, dude, like this, and he's like really inspiring as a person himself. Like everything he was talking about, I was like, you know what? You're right. Like I really want people just to make dope shit.
Yeah.
I'm over here like I haven't cursed the whole episode, and I was like, boom.
Well, I didn't know if that was okay, so I was like filtering
you're
myself.
fine.
So okay,
No, you're fine.
You're fine.
I'm just trying to be careful for the kids.
Yeah.
For the
You're in
kids
high
I'm
school there, you know.
watching.
yeah, you're okay
having-
at high school. My
Yeah.
students were like, Mr. Dutton, I heard you say shit on a podcast. It's like, and
Wait,
like,
you were watching
what
the
I
podcast?
do, what I do outside of school, like, it's none of your business.
But yeah, no, like, and I was literally sitting here thinking about it. I was like, man, you do a lot of like amazing stuff for, you know, the students, the youth, and all that stuff.
Dude.
And I was like, we need to put something together where we can make these projects just keep happening.
That's an amazing idea. And yes, after we're done doing this, like, we should figure something out, because I've always wanted to do apparel stuff with my students, and it was just like me trying to like wing it and like setting up my own screens and doing screen printing. It's like there's no way I can make, because I have like 150 kids in this design class. There's no way I can make 150 unique T-shirts. It's like, okay, I got to figure this out. So yes, we will talk, because I think that would
There
be
we go.
that'd be awesome.
Sounds cool. Yeah. No, even Kobe, he goes different places. People hire him to go live screen printing.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
And so like I work downtown, and literally like Vivint had their like employee something, and he was like hired to go live print
That's
at their
awesome.
employee like get together or whatever. And so I saw him. I worked at like the building next door, and I was like, "What's going on?" And then all of a sudden I saw him post the lobby like downstairs, and I was like, "Hey, what the heck? You're here?" He's like, "Yeah, I'm just printing," and I was like, "Oh, what the heck?"
That's
No.
so
Yeah.
cool.
And the day before was the podcast. So it was like, okay, now I'm going to be seeing more of you.
That's so
Crazy.
sick. Yeah, no, that's really cool, because I want to, like, I don't know, even something that I might want to do. I don't know. There's so many things, many things with like T-shirts and design and stuff that I want to be able to do with my kids, but it's just like finding the resources to be able to do it at the volume that I need.
Yeah.
'Cause
Yeah.
You see all these
Yeah.
like, and not to bag on them, but like elementary school teachers are like, oh, I just bought my class all these shoes, or like we made all these things for these kids. Like, you got like 25 kids. Like,
I know.
I got like 200 kids. Like, how am I going to do this with 200 kids?
Yeah.
And I've had companies reach out too, like to send like socks or like some of their merch over. It's like, oh, how many students do you have? And like, I reply back and I'm like, they're not going to like this. It's like, I got this many students. For like, whoa, that's a lot of kids. I was like, yeah. And it's like, okay, well, maybe we'll send some stuff over, and you can just like have a contest for these kids to win. It's like, the contest is cool, but
Yeah.
like, I want to bless all the kids.
Yeah.
Like,
Everybody.
to be able to do something with that. Yeah. So yeah, we'll talk.
yeah, we'll definitely have a little business meeting after this. But we're coming towards the end. We have a segment here. It's called our Chef Special. The Chef Special is just, you know, advice to the viewers or anything that you've taken in your life that, you know, you would like to share with everyone else.
Sure. I don't know. Like, I feel like in today's world, and I guess it's just because I'm around kids a lot, but I feel like it can also resonate with just anybody. We consume a lot of media through our phones, through like TV, whatever stuff, and we see like the way people are, and we often idolize these people, and we want to be exactly like these people. And at least from my experience, like when I first started getting into like actively collecting shoes, I was like, I want banger after banger after banger to get all these shoes so that I can be as cool as this guy that I saw, or as cool as this girl that I saw. And then after acquiring some of those, like, the feeling wasn't there. It was kind of like shallow, because it wasn't me. And so I guess my advice to people is just like, don't be afraid to like be different than other people, because your differences, like the way that you are, is going to set you apart from anybody else. And if you are confident in that, like in who you are that way, like that's going to resonate with so many more people than if you're just trying to be like, someone that you see here, someone that you see there. Like, be you and just let that version of you just shine. And like, you'll be surprised. Like, confidence in who you are and your abilities will take you so far.
Man,
Nice.
that one gave me chills. 'Cause the one thing as adults is that you also tend to forget that as well. You
do.
kind of just, you move like sheeps, and that's okay. But then also like coming from the creative side, like seeing everything is like, no, I have to stand. No, I have to be myself, and that, in order to be around a lot of people, you kind of have to sell yourself.
You do.
Right. And so that's the one thing I've learned over the years is that people are going to like you for you. If they don't like you, they're not meant to be in your life.
Yeah,
you know?
they're lost, not yours.
Yeah. Man, thank you for coming and sharing your story with us, and sharing a lot. Actually, this is probably one of our longest episodes.
I like to jab.
No, you're fine. And I even said, I was like, this is gonna be like a 2-hour episode.
Do we hit the record?
About 154. What is our record?
Oh dang! Yeah, I think
Wow.
that's the record.
I'm surprised our cameras
Like an
didn't shut
hour.
off.
That felt like an hour.
Yeah,
Usually
that felt
we
so
have an
fast.
issue with our cameras overheating. Like we've changed the settings to where it doesn't
Right.
like shut off anyways. But over the last couple, because it's starting to heat up outside, it's been like, warning, the camera's
Yeah.
gonna shut off. I'm like, let's
Yeah.
kind of speed this up. 'Cause
Yeah,
she'll
yeah.
start like, the camera. I'm like, but it looks like we didn't have any issues. But
There we go.
Yeah.
I would
Well, I
like to.
turned on the air conditioning, so
We did.
That's what it
think
was.
so.
Yeah. This room gets hot. This is gonna be the hottest room in the summer because the sun is facing it.
Oh yeah, especially in the evening.
Yeah.
It's gonna be yeah.
But like, thank you, Andy, Mr. AD Sneaks, for being here and joining us on the podcast. Sharing your story with us is an amazing story from where you came and where you're at now. And thank you for being like a pillar to our youth. And I know this is like weird to say, but you've kind of like been able to take what you've known and share with everyone else. And these kids, I hope they're not taking you for granted because they can be learning a lot from you, because at this day and age, technology is one of the fastest advancing things that we can learn. And, teach them, they can learn a lot that overnight and take those things overnight and become overnight successes because the power of what you've been able to share with them.
Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Appreciate you guys having me. Like really, I just love to chat with people.
Yeah.
So
thank you
guys
for coming
having me,
on.
Of course.
Yeah. No, I was telling everyone, I was like, I wish I had a teacher like him growing up.
But now we get to sit down with him and we can
Yeah.
like,
There we go.
Yeah. But that's episode 66 of the Off the Menu podcast. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you check out our reels and social medias. Please like, comment, and subscribe because we're almost to 500. And, we would like
Let's
to hit that number
go.
before our 1 year. And 1 year will be April 28th. So let's get that going, guys.
Let's
But
get
thank
there.
you guys for tuning in. Peace out, y'all.